band in. Woo! Well, alright. Yeah, they want me to fit in, but I can't. I'm too different with it. Too advanced to think, you know my intuition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best, you get it. What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh, I'm vetted up. I don't need to try to speak for the rest. Always keep it abrupt, they wanna keep it a mess, you know. This is what you get when you're sitting as a vet. But everybody know that you're a threat. With the rest, let's go. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your box. No. Look, I try to tell you we don't fit in your box. Why you try to box me in? I got the key to unlock. I know the locksmith, optics. Speak of the loss, I'm eating lobster, chopsticks, freaking the boss, you know. I'll never fit in where I go at. Ooh, boss talk like I'm Boaz. Ooh, why fit in when you know you can stand out still? They remember you more when you hand out deals. Let's go. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your box. No. Don't box me in. I do my own thing. Spirit is right within. I got my own way. Violent is not within. Look at the way that I do my ops again. Oh, better let me loose. You know that I got the juice. Everything I got to do. Words that I speak out my mouth, I gotta move. Oh, we can't fit in your box. We too cold and you know. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your box. No. Thank you, Ben, for coming out tonight. My name is Son of Augustine. Let's go. land in. Woo! Well, alright. Yeah, they want me to fit in, but I can't. I'm too different with it. Too advanced to think, you know my intuition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best, you get it? What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh, I'm vetted up. I don't need to try to speak for the rest. Always keep it abrupt, they wanna keep it a mess, you know? This is what you get when you're sitting as a vet. But everybody know that you're a threat. With the rest, let's go. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box, no. We don't quit, we won't stop, no. Ride us all to the top, whoa. We won't fit in your box, no. Look, I try to tell you we don't fit in your box. Why you try to box me and I got the key to unlock? I know the locksmith, optics, speak of the loss. I'm eating lobster, chopsticks, freaking the boss, you know. I'll never fit in where I go at. Ooh, boss talk like I'm Boaz. Ooh, why fit in when you know you can stand out still? They remember you more when you hand out deals. Let's go. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box, no. We don't quit, we won't stop, no. Ride us all to the top, whoa. We won't fit in your box, no. Don't box me in, I do my own thing, spirit is right within. I got my own way, violent is not within. Look at the way that I do my ops again, oh. Better let me loose, you know that I got the juice, everything I got to do, words that I speak out my mouth, I gotta move, oh, oh. We can't fit in your box, you're too cold and you know. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box, no. We don't quit, we won't stop, no. Ride us all to the top, whoa. We won't fit in your box, no. Thank you, Ben, for coming out tonight. My name is Sanhok. Let's go.
With the last chance stage now done and dusted, great way to start. With the last chance stage now done and dusted for PMCO, ready to enter into the last opportunity for these guys to show they are in fact the best team here in PMCO Europe 2023, here today in the Grand Finals. My name is Maxman, and today I'm going to be joined by the amazing DK because I can't do this alone. DK, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Quite excited to see what our teams are going to be bringing to the foreground here. And of course, as we know already, right, the teams, they worked exceptionally hard through the last chance, as well as, the upper brackets to get themselves right into this grand final.
Yeah, it wasn't hundreds of teams, it was actually thousands of teams, DK, that signed up initially for this tournament. And it's gonna be a tough one because we got some tough teams here that qualified into the winner bracket side of the grand finals. But of course, we're gonna move on and check out the format of this tournament, how everything is going to run down in case you guys want to be a little bit more familiar with the format of this year's PMCO. And of course, for real this time, DK, no bamboozle all over the place. For real, we do actually have 16 teams in the lobby, which actually is going to be impacting pretty significantly how the early game stage breaks down.
Yeah, there's also more opportunities for teams to get additional eliminations added to the tally. So I think this is going to bring quite a bit of excitement to the teams as they again will be utilizing our tried and tested point system.
Yeah, and Team Rush, more specifically DK, they are going to go heavy for those elimination points. As we saw though, fair to say, we'll look at the team list very soon. There are going to be some teams that are also renowned in those top 8 teams that already qualified a week ago in the Grand Finals that aren't going to go down too easily, I think it's fair to say. I think we have one team in mind, DK, that we're not going to spoil just yet. You'll have to wait and see. But there's one or two teams that I think you're going to look at and think, okay, those guys are going to be on fire because they are gunning for that prize pool, DK, which, again, for this year's PMCO, pretty significantly increased for that first place position.
Yeah, I mean, $6,000, that is a hefty payday coming through here for the teams. And of course, as we know, those players that, or teams rather, ended in 9th to 13th place back in last chance, of course, they'll also be walking away with a little bit of bank. But this is where the teams now have the opportunity to really try and solidify as much of a share of this prize pool as they possibly can.
Yeah, exactly. You want to go for that first place position and see how things are going to wrap up. After that, you're going to have 3 days total of play, 4 matches per day. So 12, if my math is correct. 12 matches total for these guys to play through. And we're going to now check out the teams. But DK, I think it goes without saying, if we look at the team list, there is one team name that stands out to everyone at home right now. It's the boys from Nexus Gaming, the Romanian Super Squad, coming in here to kick some butt, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what the side of Nexus are going to be bringing through into this PMCO. As you've seen already, the teams, they've been working quite hard, but with, Doran, Kapohala, and Co., they've got experience, right? They have an extra little bit of experience that I think could maybe be quite a bit of a deciding factor against the remaining teams.
I do wonder what the roster's going to look like. I think it might just be like the end of PMPL Europe and also the Championship, where Octavian was on the bench, and it was Doran, Kapahala, Exo, and Redox, which I still personally believe is one of the better iterations of this team, but because it isn't quite your Championship, it isn't quite your PMPL, maybe Octavian is going to be on the board. But not only that, you also have 4 Romanian boys with Sarah that I have not seen play in a very, very long time here, DK. So I think 4 Romanian boys are going to be looking good. And of course, all of those 8 teams that qualified through the winner bracket, we expect them to be maybe just top tier contenders, I think it's fair to say, to go for that 6K prize pool in that first place.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Rush, T-Pes, Alpi, and even Big Baby are going to be looking to measure up against the side of Nexus and, of course, the teams that have already qualified straight into the grand final. So yeah, I think there's going to be quite a bit of tight contention and very tough competition, especially coming through here, just based on what we've been seeing in the last chance.
That is going to be really close. I think that there's one big point to mention for these teams that qualified just 2 days ago from the last chance stage is that there is a stream out there, right? There is a stream that these top 8 teams that already pre-qualified into the grand finals could go back, look at it, see how they drop, see how they rotate, and adapt to that. I'm not saying, oh, we're going to go for a hot drop and just shut down their rotations. It's just they know what the playstyle is like, and they can adapt to come up with their very own strategy. And as we already said, aim for that first place position and get that $6,000 in their pocket. So I actually wanted to ask you right now, because you mentioned a few teams from the last chance stage to already qualified, DK. Are there from those teams one or two in particular that you would like to see maybe improvements from and you think have potential to win this whole PMCO season.
I would definitely say from a team like God's Ultimate, right? They were showing a good increase, especially in the latter part of the last chance
Sanhok game.
qualifiers itself.
Yeah.
So that's definitely kind of something that I want to see them try and build a little bit more on. I think that kind of performance that we saw coming through there, that was a really good foundation to lay down.
Yeah, it was a very good foundation. And of course, if you do want to stay tuned with everything happening here with the good old PMCOs, we're not just talking, of course, the Europe. There's a lot of other PMCOs. But if you want to stay tuned with everything PMCO Europe related, can go check out the socials over here. We're everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok. We have Instagram too. It's not there, but I promise we do in fact have Instagrams, and we post the leaderboards every single day. Or you can just scan the QR code if you want to stay up to date. But I hear, DK, that just in a few seconds we are ready to jump in our first match here of the grand finals for once again the PUBG Mobile Club Open Europe 2023, and see which out of the initial thousands of teams will be the one to be crowned our champions.
Well, it is go time as we start making our way on through. And of course, well, we are coming in across none other than Everest, starting over on towards this western side of the zone.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see how teams are going to be adapting to a possible crappy circle, which we've had a few of those happen. We had a bad play with a bad circle. Those tend to happen every once in a while. But in my opinion here, a mark of a good team is a team that can take bad circles and make it work out. And I don't know how much you watched of PMWI, DK, but Vampire Esport is a standout team that no matter what you throw at them, great circles, horrendous circles, center play, edge play, they can always make it work. So I would say if you're one of these squads and you did a little VOD review of PMWI, maybe you can get some good learnings from the boys of Vampire.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of lessons to be had from the teams that have a ton of experience when it comes to assessing these maps, as you said already, making the best out of a tricky situation. There's a lot that can be implemented, you know, that also can be inspired from how those teams approach their matches. So I want to see whether or not we could maybe have a little bit of some kind of flavor being delivered to the board here, with especially now the four Romanian boys, finding themselves pushing down on towards that more southern side. And of course, Nexus not too far away either. But a decent zone to kick off the proceedings. Yes, there is a bit of water, but I don't think the teams are going to be too upset about the zone.
Yeah, not too surprised for Nexus. That is their trialed and tested drop location here, Milta Power. So they're going to go for that usual one. Though this phase 1 circle, not great for one reason in particular, is you have that river in play, which, as we know, DK, always going to be tough. It's a bit of a gamble. Do we play north? Do we play south? Do we rotate early? Do we tend to rotate late with a chance of us getting gate kept? There's a lot of questions that teams should already be asking themselves. And especially, I'm looking at your Team Kazama, I'm looking at your TPES, at your Nexus, all those teams on the southern eastern side of the map. I think one really strong rotation, get through to Yasnaya, play around that kind of terrain, and depending on that, you could play even Yasnaya Lake, and you can then rotate north or south of the river based on where it tends to go. There's a lot of options available for these teams, so I'm just waiting to see which one they're going to go for, because I want to be surprised. I want to be shown something out of the usual textbook of PUBG Mobile in these next few days.
Yeah, I think at least now for the time being, the teams are going to be looking to get the majority of the congestion we have sorted and themselves potentially established with a bit of decent loot before they start to kick off with a bit of a crazy play. Big Baby also now very committed in towards the quarry region, but I think that's going to be an interesting setup, especially looking at how they are approaching this, because we got BRX as well as the four Romanian boys also within that vicinity. We saw those drop locations come through.
Yeah.
But again, this is where I think, you know, just the map knowledge and, of course, a little bit of knowledge as to what the opposing teams could potentially be looking to bring through rotational-wise.
I mean, I do like what we're seeing from Big Baby, in particular, in Quarry. They saw the drop from BRX, they saw the drop from four Romanian boys, instantly exit, get out of there. It's a mess. We don't like those pesky early game fights. I mean, I hate them personally, but I think that these teams should hate them too. But yeah, otherwise, I'm seeing one compound here, DK, in the center of the circle, outside of like the possible hot drops, etc. Cube is available right to the east of George Pole. And I don't know how you play your games like this, but I always, when I'm playing this map and I have this exact circle, I gun it to Cube and I stay there for as goddamn long as I possibly can, because it's that good a position. And no one's died yet, so every team is as a 4-man. If you get there as a 4-man, fully looted with 2 to 3 cars, you're already in this game one of the top 5 contenders, I would say, because unless we have horrible shifts in a row, DK, you should be remaining relatively fine this match.
Yeah, I think this is where our approach to a zone like this differs ever so slightly. I mean, I'm a little bit more of a prowler than I am, holding on to a position like Cube. But I mean, Cube is a good spot, especially looking at how the teams are spaced, where it is currently situated within the zone. So I think there is a lot of potential to be had within that compound. But for me personally, I would probably be, looking, prowling all over the place, looking to see. But again, I don't play competitive, right? Casual, that's a little bit more my scene, because at the end of the day, I'm a bot.
Yeah, I mean, even though we play casually, DK, we can still know positions are good. So
Yeah.
I think that the map is the same, unless I'm completely mistaken, and they have Erangel 3.0 before we did. But as of right now, you already got some good POIs that teams could go for. Though in European Championship just a few days ago, last week actually, we had a finish on the island west of Sunken City. I just hope we're going to have the same kind of circles we had in the last chance, because those were good circles where teams could express themselves in their rotation. In the championship, it was a mess. It was a mess. It was not fun to play with. So teams will have to adapt. Though some rotations are happening, and seems like God's Ultimate, the team that you pointed out earlier as a team you want to see do well here, DK, already sent it to Cube. They've got 3 to 4 cars available. So I'm already counting God's. I was going to say God's like. I'm so used to watching India, man. God's Ultimate as a top contender for this game.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely hold on to a prime real estate position, as you pointed out before. But I think another interesting position that we see maybe that could be played is more or less where Vengeance are right now. I mean, obviously it seems like they are going to be pushing up to Cube, but those compounds just over onto the edge of Headshot Hills towards that western side, I think that could also be a nice sort of a preemptive setup in anticipation for that zone shift. And meanwhile, it's now Godlike to try and defend this Cube.
God, we just called him Godlike now.
God's Ultimate, there we go.
I thought you did it on purpose.
I got it.
No, he baited me. He got me. But yeah, it's currently just a few shots. Good from Vengeance. They understood this is a strong position. They tried to go for it with minimal scouting, which is why I thought that it would have been a good rotation path for Vengeance to maybe go for Everest initially. Get a little bit more information, because they rotated a bit later than God's Ultimate, and based on the information, maybe you spot the cars, you say to yourself, okay, that spot is taken, let's go for another secondary option, which could be, where you said, west of Headshot Hills, DK, I think is a good option. You're not going to get too much information from that position, which is the downside of it, but in terms of just making it later on in the game, it is a very valid option.
Yeah. But I think there's going to be a little bit of pressure on a team like Team Alpi, for instance, as well, right? They've shown in the last chance that they know exactly how to cook up those winner-winner chicken dinners. They've got 2 of them over on Erangel. So I'm curious to see how they're going to be looking to take this play, because we're going to see them just over on towards that eastern side of Rozhok with a slow approach towards a kind of partial split on either sides of that of the river.
I think they're going to go for the gas station north of Rozhok across the river, which in this circle, again, you're not going to be contending for a late game spot. This is just a temporary location. It is good because you can hide cars, you can have a little bit of scouting done north/northeast. So if there are teams like Bunny, like TPS, like Epsilon Axe, or even Nexus go for the wide rotate, you can spot them out early, and you just can get a little bit of an advantage. Though a player from Kazama does fall to his death, apparently. Which, fair to say, DK, not the best way to start off your PUBG Mobile game, but I think a res will happen, so Kazama should hopefully still have 4 players. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. We're being hopeful here.
I think on that one, maybe it was the handbrake, right? Maybe they just got to double check the tension on the handbrake. If you pull it up a little bit too quick.
What's the handbrake you're using? Just jump out the car? That's your handbrake? What's going on?
Yeah, but I mean, maybe they forgot to buckle up, and then if you pull the handbrake up a little bit too quickly, it locks the wheels. You hit a boulder up ahead, and then whoop, off you go back into the lobby.
Well, you just said buckle up. I'm going to buckle up for this game. This is, I said we want normal circles, okay? What the hell is happening here already? I'm not too sure. This is not going to be fun for these guys, though. EGL already gunning for the center circle. There's a few strong compounds towards those like coastal areas, not really on the coast itself. You have one strong position to the west, which is where I think Vengeance are going. But EGL are going for the spot, I think, between the 2 roads, which currently in this circle is fantastic to go there. But as you can see, there's a mad dash, DK. 3 teams going for the same spot, maybe even 4 teams going for the same spot. That's how good the position is.
Yeah, it is going to be a race to the finish. But in the meanwhile, first up, it is going to be a race for, well, survivability as we got Mumia and Vengeance now fighting each other. Good bit of a start to the action here. But again, both teams now trying to find... Ooh! Or trying to see, though, whether or not they can hold on.
Great nade from Mamet19. Those going to be shared back in kind. And so much utility is going to be used. Are we going to see a third party? I don't think so, but teams are hearing this fight. They've seen the elimination feed light up, DK, so maybe one sneaky team will try and just get the better of Mumia and Vengeance. Though EGL really like what they did. They saw this fight happen, not interested in it whatsoever. Just send it to the other side of that hill and the road, and just are going to hold that position currently, which I love that. Fantastic, but that's also a fantastic nade, and that's it for Vengeance.
Ooh.
One of our teams qualified from the last chance stage will not be able to get any further on game number 1.
Yeah, a bit of a bumpy play coming through there. But now it is going to be up to Mumia and, of course, the Eagles to settle the dispute, the controlling angle right up in towards these northern regions. I like the fact that Alpi, as well as the players there from God's Ultimate, already started to rotate much closer to this. It's definitely going to be keeping up the contention here. But of course, as we know, shooting range is at times a rather difficult area to play through.
Yeah, it can be from time to time a little bit tough, especially because it's just downhills. You've got a few dips that are not the greatest to play around. You don't have too much coverage. You have a few trees, but not that many rocks. So you want to dodge it like the plague until the circle ends up shifting there. That's the big thing, right? If it does shift there, then you've got to send it early. If it does not, maybe avoid it. Just maybe not quite the best option for these guys. But outside of that, currently, other teams are going for the wide rotate. We've seen a mad dash also of teams, DK, over to the eastern side, but Big Baby going to have their own encounter, apparently, on the coastal line versus Eagle Esports, EGL, that are already starting to throw nades back and forth.
Well, let's see whether or not they are going to be able to hold on to their perch here. Big Baby, I like this mobility coming through. Quite a bit of utilization coming through with the vehicles here. But again, right, Big Baby, they still have a bit of leverage, I think, that they could use against the Eagles, as they've got the ridge line as a bit of coverage. They've got those cliffs to try and just, hide themselves in. But of course, also there is a good opportunity for a bit of a fallback play, as we can see them making right there. In the meanwhile, it is going to be, of course, then over to the side here of the Exotic Alliance and Nexus finding themselves in a bit of a showdown.
Or Nexus, they want to be aggressive. They want to win themselves that first place position. This is their tournament to win, technically. I'd even go to say, DK, because they can't afford, with their reputation, to falter in at PMCO. So they need to get themselves some good points on board. And already up to 5. Already eliminated a full squad and a little bit more. And they'll just sweep. What? Already up to 7 eliminations on phase 3? Are you joking? They just cleared Epsilon just like that. They snapped their fingers. The team disappeared. Nexus, what? Okay.
Well, I think they maybe need to rename to like Thanos or something, because man, that was snappy AF. But in the meanwhile, we've got God's Ultimate also now still trying to lock down a bit of a position coming onto the northern side here of shooting range. I think this could be a very good angle, not only onto God's Ultimate, but also, as we saw there, Bunny just going to be hanging on the edge.
Yeah, just going to be chilling around for now. At least it's cool. A lot of the water was taken out of the equation, DK, so it's going to give him a bit more breathing time and space for these teams to work with. But as we know, DK, a lot of these compounds, a lot of these strong positions are already taken away, which means all this plethora of teams in the south that have yet to find a position to call home, they're going to have to breach. They're going to have to fight one another. They're going to clash on rotation. This is going to be a bloody phase 4 shift. I'm telling you that much. Phase 4 is going to be a bloodbath for these guys.
Yeah, it is going to be a very, very tough one. And this is where I'm curious to see how Kazama are going to be looking to get themselves situated, because we still see them out there sipping on some blue juice. And as we know, right, the blue juice, could taste very, very nice. But in the meanwhile, there's going to be King now being absolutely merciless as they come through with a beautiful spray and they get the knockdown.
I just want to stay on blue juice for a second. Is that how you call taking blue damage?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's nice because if you have a bit of it, it tickles the throat as it goes down, but as you know, it's not all that good for you. So once it hits your tummy, you get a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling. So you definitely want to try and avoid as much of it as you can.
I feel like every caster has got their own name. You've got Papa Blue for Mustache Dave and Hot Jukes. You got the Blue Juice. I need to find my own. I feel like I can't be called a PUBG Mobile analyst or caster if I don't have a name for the Blue Zone. The All Blue. Oh, that's a One Piece reference too. That's cool. I like that. Okay, the All Blue. That's what I'm going to call it. That's my official name for the Blue Zone. Though, seeing where the next circle is gonna pop. Once again, Mumia in a very good spot, able to defend it against Vengeance earlier. But I believe down to 3 players only, so might be a bit tough. But still in circle, DK. And currently, teams are not going to be able to defend their cars too easily in a circle like this because there's not too many hiding spots. And breaching that compound without cars, almost mission impossible unless you have 10 bajillion smokes. It's not going to happen. So if you have cars still at this stage, you want to keep them as tightly to your chest as possibly can because it's going to be a very important resource.
Yeah, it is going to be a very, very tough one to play. Now, of course, we get a bit of an opportunity to see what Rush's approach is going to be coming into today's bit of action here. As they've got Mitana and RKG now having to defend against BRX. But you can see quite a bit of aggression already being shown here by BRX. And I think, right, this contention for the control of the western side, it might also be just as bloody.
This really sucks for Rush because you become so predictable in these kind of underground shelters that we have. Because now you just got to nade it up, you can molly it, you can just use anything you have in your arsenal. Even cars, you can pop a car in front of it and explode it. But seems like BRX no better than to take a fight that is not quite worth it in the long run. So let's just leapfrog their position and gatekeep them, which I'm fine with, but by doing so, Big Baby can spot you from the north. And you're going to be in a bit of deep trouble. Even 4 Romanian boys are shooting their way here. So BRX DK in a world of hurt this match, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it went from looking pretty good to not quite sure what on earth is happening right here. But now they are going to be feeling pressure not only from the side there of Rush. We do see Big Baby, as you've mentioned, looking to apply their own bit of an onslaught. Meanwhile, Alpi and Nexus now just trying to get the heck out of Dodge, get themselves situated back into the safety of zone. But as you can see there for Klaus, it is not going to be a very hopeful run.
Yeah, not going to be the case at all here, GK, but Burke is just going to get mowed down this note. Well, okay, 1 car, 2 car, he dodges them. And it's Nexus up to 9 elim. Okay, I got to start not popping off because, I mean, we expect Nexus to do well in this tournament, right? But Jesus, they're on such an aggressive start, just clearing the entire eastern side. And sure, unfortunately, missed out on PMGC. Sorry to bring back, like, recent tough memories for them, but again, this is a team that has so much potential, but are very inconsistent. But at their peak, they can get, like, easily 20 elimination matches, so they are always a threat that can just come out of nowhere and just get one of the biggest games in said tournament at the time. So, good spot here with a few smokes to hide, but, you know, the moment they dissipate, they're going to get sandwiched upon by 2 teams. I do wonder how Nexus are going to get out of this.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a very, very tough play for Nexus to move up, especially seeing that we've got Mumia as well as Eagles in very close proximity. But I'm also going to be looking over on towards Team Alpi coming through on the eastern side. At least for the time being, Alpi could be focusing in on towards God's Ultimate, so that could bring a little bit of a pressure release now for Nexus to move forward.
Indeed, it could be. I'm just waiting for this next circle shift here. It's going to be very telling. If Mumia are still in the circle, top 3 it should be, because I don't see who else could really contest such a strong spot. Big Baby also a really strong angle over to the northwest. I love how they've been able to just gather information this entire match. But it's going to be down to terrain knowledge in the next few seconds. See which dips, nook and crannies you can actually play. Well, Bunny here, under 5 for God's Ultimate. Sure, lost a player, but are still keeping the heat on. And it shifts right on top of Mumia here, DK. Okay, so Mumia currently is the team to beat.
Yeah, and they have the spot. That is going to be a golden angle to be holding. Position that's not so golden is, of course, this coming through here for God's Ultimate. I mean, they are absolutely pinned down. Bunny, we've seen a little bit of something come through from them so far in this match, but they've been relatively quiet. Now, I think, is a golden opportunity for Bunny Esports to step up and show us exactly what their approach is, just whether or not they are going to be looking to play a little bit aggressive, a little bit more defensive, or a bit of a combo of both.
But for Bunny, I really love what Twist has been doing. He's been keeping tabs on 4 Romanian boys. He doesn't want to allow that backstab from happening. And 4 Romanian boys, understanding the way being currently gate kept, leapfrog it, send it in a circle. But this little valley is going to be a death trap if you can't keep those cars alive. You've got to be very careful, and they are just getting absolutely mowed down from another direction. But at least are able to clear that little shed. So they have some position to play from. But for how long, I'm not too sure, as BRX slowly are encroaching on the west.
And I think this is also still where we could see a little bit of that Mumia play potentially reaching on in. Ketsu now going to be the last one left for their team, having to try and defend. But the BRX, I like this positioning that they're going for. I mean, just trying to lay in onto all the possible angles they can get here. And quite a bit of contention coming through here. But also then, Bunny, they're going to have to find a way to get them situated as they just dip in towards the zone. But there's not a lot of hard cover. Instead, there's quite a bit of that ridge coverage now to try and capitalize on.
For BRX, DK, just mentioned them, it's really smart for them to have not taken that fight versus Rush. Thanks to this, they actually are in a key position to the west. Sure, they have to go downhill, but with the multiple angles that they're currently covering, I don't think 4 Romanian boys could really easily deal with such a massive threat of BRX esports. So I do like it, but it seems like they have DBSs also in their loadout. So if they can close that range just a little bit, they could be even deadlier, as Bunny here already on the prowl looking for God's ultimate.
Yeah, and Leon now becoming one of the terrain.
There you go.
Oh, but unfortunately, they're not exactly wearing that the camouflage, so they're quite easy to spot, and that is going to be God's ultimate out in 11th. Now, we hit our top 10 teams trying to contest for the winner chicken dinner. Mumia still going to be holding on to prime real estate, but we do see quite a bit of that edge play essentially now being forced onto the teams.
I still can't believe that Nexus have been able to survive that pinch between Team Alpi and Eagle Esports. Right, they have been able to just outlive pretty much anyone. And talking about Eagle, also great opening nade, already up to 3 eliminations. And that nade bounces right off the branch, unlucky. But Big Baby, understand, we don't want to take this fight. We're going to make it as a 2-man. It's Baban and Dennis, but going right towards 4 Romanian boys and also BRX. Currently in a better position than those two teams, so they can just wait things out, but that position is so nadeable, DK. And you see the BRX have it. There you go. The barrage is coming out. Can Big Baby survive the storm?
Well, it's going to be up to Aussie now, as they will have to make quite a bit of rotation. The zone shifting all the way down towards that southern edge. And I think this is where it's going to be go time now for BRX, because they need to get a bit of a position moving forward. I mean, Big Baby, sure they are within zone, but as you've said, this is a very nadeable position. But I think, at least for the time being, BRX might be looking to essentially take over.
It's not bad, actually, if you smoke the windows. It makes it a lot easier for them to defend their position, and it makes it harder for BRX to hit those nades. So Big Baby, 10,000 IQ player with the smokes. And you're just hoping the BRX are going to waste all of their utility because of that smoke. That is the game plan. And it seems like that nade did not quite connect too. But Big Baby, here you go. Team is getting close, but BRX aren't going their way. They're going towards 4 Romanian boys here, GK. They want to clear the valley side.
Ooh, up comes the push now. Aussie going to be looking to clear the shed, but a quick response going to be 3 from Royal. I love the peek behind the rock, but there we go. 4 Romanian boys just locking it down. And with that, it's now up to Jades to defend the honor here of BRX.
I'm so surprised they went for this play. 100% I thought they were going to breach onto Big Baby and play the high ground, but they send themselves down in the valley side, DK. It's so risky. And we see they just got absolutely destroyed. Eagles Esport, though, sending it onto Big Baby currently. Nice defense set up, but Dennis is left as a solo here with an S12K and an M4. I'm not quite sure it's going to be enough, and they have that molly. They're going to chuck it inside, and Dennis is cooked to a crisp as they reach the end of their match 1 and get themselves an 8th position this match.
Well, you got to give it up to Eagle Esports, though. They are looking absolutely phenomenal at this point. Good utilization of that rush, and I mean, they only, well, got a knock, right? Not exactly a finish getting delivered to them. But speaking about plays, though, look at this. Bunny definitely going to be looking to capitalize on the available opportunity. I like this high ground situation that they've got here, but are they going to be able to flex that down onto the rest of the teams? Because already you can see Nexus also falling victim to a bit of a spray.
Most important is for Merciless to get the res, which I believe he just got, but Nexus still sweeping the eastern side of the map, but now are taking severe casualties, not going to be able to cross the road. Mumia are taking some big shots towards their entire roster. So I am doubtful the Nexus can make it anywhere further in this match, but does it really matter, DK? They already got 12 eliminations. They are in the top 7, possibly going to reach the top 5 position. That's already a big way to start off your adventure to the grand finals. But Eagle, after their sweep on to Big Baby, this is the high ground position that I really thought BRX were going to play, DK, but they wanted to Valley for some reason, which in my eyes is a big misplay.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but this is how one learns, right? You got to go out there, try a few things, see whether or not it works against these teams. And, well, now they have their answer. But speaking about answers, though, we are still going to be looking to see who will be the one to claim that winner chicken dinner. Bunny, I think they're also doing an absolutely phenomenal job so far. 10 eliminations to their name.
Yeah.
Definitely showing quite a bit of that aggression. But I think also the opportunity now is there for Mumia to try and capitalize on the edge of those compounds.
I mean, it's very top-heavy in terms of limbs here, DK. You got Bunny with double digits. Nexus also now on 14 eliminations. Do reach the end of their rope, but they make it into top 5. So again, that's an absolute massive game at 1 to kick off their adventure in the grand finals of this PMCO. But Bunny, they lost Twist. 6 eliminations for Merciless alone, which shows how, like, dominant and present this player has been. But Mumia's compound is not in play anymore, which that is going to be the big difference maker here, DK. They can't apply the pressure from the compound. They have to move, but luckily enough, they did hide cars beforehand.
Well, maybe a bit of a hidden vehicle is exactly the kind of play that you need to bring on through. Of course, ensuring that you've got that rotation should you need to move on forward. But I'm still curious as to Bunny's play here, because they've got the elevation, they've got the angles, but they don't have that zonal positioning, and this could potentially put them at the mercy of the team situated a little bit further down.
Okay, nice. Hide the wheels of that car. I think it lost 1 wheel, which on the buggy, that's fine, but can't afford to lose too much more. Great spray down at this range with the M4. Puts 2 players relatively low. We can't peek too much, and now the Circle has started to encroach on their terrain. Eagle Esports, they're not going to have too much time. They're going to have to start to think about how they want to move. And currently, Mumia are going their direction. Bunny might be able to capitalize and get a sneaky third party from a distance. But right now, they have to regroup. While 4 Romanian boys, Sarah is just chilling in the valley, DK, hoping to snatch away a 2nd place.
Oh, so far things are looking pretty interesting there for Romanian. But now we are going to be hopping straight over to Eagles, who find themselves a bit of a bunny play down below. Now this fits in perfectly with Mother Nature, right? The Eagles going for the bunnies, but it does seem like the bunnies there are going to kick back.
I'm seeing a lot of DBS. I wish we were seeing more SLRs, Mini 14s. That would be so great at this kind of range, especially with players trying to just sneak into the grass, but just a ton of DBS. Oh, and AC Val also being played by Amit, it seems, with 5 eliminations out of the 6 total for his team. But a ton of smokes here, trying to, again, hide their cars. And waiting for stage 8. We're about to shift into the last circle, DK, which, for these teams, they just want to know what terrain they're going to work with and try and adapt as much as they can. But here you go. Eagles and Mumia are going to encounter one another. And Mumia almost losing one, but he just barely survives behind that little tree.
Oh, tough play indeed. Let's see whether or not Mumia can find the sprays. They do indeed. Beautiful angle. Now it's up to Yuxi to pull the team forward.
Really good from Augers. Able to get himself so much done. That one nade could be good. A little bit randomly thrown, but Bunny also. They just hoping that this fight completely breaks through, but it really isn't. Bunny aren't quite able to play the way they want to, because they just really haven't fully ended this fight. But for Romanian boys, I would be so shocked, DK, if they can actually make it into a winning position, because they played this shed so early in the valley. It was an absolute death sentence. And yet, they are alive and hoping to go the entire way.
You got to commend the perseverance coming through for the 4 Romanian boys, but now Eagle Esports are going to find themselves in a very sticky situation as they need to try and avoid that zone closure, but the opportunity is now available for the rest of the lobby to see if they can drive in the necessary sprays. 4 Romanian boys are going to be focusing mercilessly over onto the side of Bunny.
Yeah, that's it. I'm again looking for more eliminations, up to 7 if I'm not mistaken, but Merciless, the top player of Bunny, will fall. And without him, I think that the adventure of Bunny might just end in the next few seconds from that spot. While there's 4 teams, Mumia, 4 Romanian boys, Bunny, and Eagle Esports, all hoping to go for the first chicken dinner of the day for these grand finals. But in terms of utility, they still have 5 nades, DK, for 4 Romanian boys. After the breach of RBX, they have so much utility. But Amit's nade is going to be the first to connect.
Ooh. This could be quite a bit of a dangerous play coming
Good
through
smoke.
here. Mumia Yeah, they're looking to wrap this one up, but are they going to be able to find the plays that they need? All those nades getting scary, scary close. And there we go.
There you go. I think that they expected them to be inside, which is why they smoked. It's actually a really big bait from 4 Romanian boys. If that was their own smoke, I'm not sure who threw it, but I think it is 4 Romanian boys. Smoke the building, fake being inside of it, and then actually be behind the shed. Bunny Esports will not be reaching the podium position here, but Sarah is going to take the 1v1. He's going to be able to win it against Yuxi. Yes, he does. Sarah looking once again on point for 4 Romanian boys. And now it's down to Mumia versus 4 Romanian boys, but they still have nades. That nade might just be the nail in the coffin. A bit too short. It's like a mini red zone over here.
Oh, but I think the unfortunate play here for the 4 Romanian boys is, of course, looking at the spread coming through from Mumia. I mean, Ahmed, absolutely stealth mode engage as they're creeping into nade range.
Damage. He's already got himself over 1,000 damage. Maybe looking for 8 eliminations. That nade's a bit short on the throw, but Atkinsons is going to be the one to get it done. It's now a 1v3 for Sarah. A goated player, but I don't think it matters. I think this is a Mumia chicken dinner through, and the nade connects, and that is done and dusted. Match number 1 goes the way of our boys, the men, the legends of Mumia Esports.
I think a very, very strong start coming through there from the side of Mumia. And of course, being able to hold on to all 3 players for such a long duration, I think that is exactly the kind of spread and play that they needed to bring on through. But that 2-1 split, I think that is what drove it home for them. Because, I mean, 4 Romanian boys, they were essentially just focused over onto the one angle. And it was pretty tough to try and cover the opposite side.
For Mumia, I think that their smartest play was to not fully commit to the fight versus Eagle Esports and also versus Bunny. You're just trying to wait things out as much as possible, wait for the circle to naturally push them in a weaker position to defend, and then you can just take some great shots. And Amit in particular here, MVP surely of this match. There's no way he wouldn't be. Over 1,100 damage, some sick utility, and going so early for that compound 2 DK. We saw in the phase 2 pop that was going to be one of the most valuable positions. They understood the value of such a spot and sent it pretty much instantly as we go through the highlights, because there's a lot to recap in this match, I believe, DK.
Yeah, I mean, we did see Mumia starting with a very early onslaught rather, coming at the expense here of Vengeance. But then, of course, we did see Nexus, right? Just absolutely bringing through the aggression in this game.
It was really interesting from Nexus. Sure, they don't get themselves the win, but in terms of eliminations alone, that's all that really matters. Though I'm happy to see a lot of AC Vows being played. We saw especially Sarah get some great clutch moments with that AC Vow, but this is the big breach here. BRX not being able to win this breach and not getting a single knock is already bad enough, but also to give all of that utility, all of those incredibly strong and impactful resources over to the side of 4 Romanian boys, that then allows them to reach a second place position. So if you are right now 4 Romanian boys, send your thank yous to BRX, because that was really good nades they needed.
Speaking about good nades, this last one to close it up, that Molly on point. Signed, sealed, delivered. It had the 4 Romanian boys' name written all over it. But amazing start to our first match of the day.
I think we're going to be checking out the match rankings, if I'm not mistaken, unless I misheard our production team. But see how many points have been taken on. Okay, we're not. You know what? We're going to take it. It's just we don't want to spoil it too quick. We're going to head on over to a very quick break. And after that, we'll be back for our second match of the day. It's going to be over on Miramar. The Mummies have left Miramar. They've been able to get himself a massive chicken dinner here over on Erangel. And what a game it was, DK, because sure, they showed that they had great fragging power and potential on their squad, great usage of utility, but one thing most important to me is that map knowledge overall, knowing which positions are the strongest so early on, gunning for it early stage, and then you can just play from there on out. So yeah, Mummy, here going back to now Miramar, maybe a back-to-back win here, because it technically should be with their brand, their map to win.
Yeah. Well, as we know, at least it's safe to say that they've got Erangel on the wraps, so we got to see what they're going to be bringing into the rest of our map rotation as we are getting ready to move on forward. But again, a super aggressive start to the day. But I think something that was also quite surprising was the fact that Rush Esports, they got sent back with bubbles.
True, actually, yeah, they had a rough time getting out of that shelter this previous match. It's a bit unfortunate, but also it's kind of predictable because, as I said, you are predictable in those exact kind of positions. And BRX understood, okay, we don't really even have to take a fight because it's such a terrible spot to play from. We're just going to jump ahead by about 50 meters and just wait for you to leave naturally, and we're just going to pick you up. So, yeah, hopefully Rush don't do something similar like that, even though it was I think fair to say, not a circle you see that often. But you got to try and make sure you don't get in those positions where teams just 100% know how you're going to try and leave it.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a little bit of a tough one for the teams, as we've said before, that have already had a little bit of that airtime, right, with the maps and their rotations and everything being visible. I think there's going to be an extra little bit of work now having to be brought in by them, trying to see how they can maybe try and change things up in response to, you know, what the unknown teams are bringing onto the battlefield. Because, again, right, you want to see those teams that have bounced in from the last chance really bringing a lot of that momentum forward into this. And of course, they're going to have to really step up that gameplay if they are going to be looking to rub shoulders with these teams, because the opportunity and the expectation is there.
I mean, you're going to have to, because we saw the two teams in particular came out swinging this match. Of course, Mumia getting himself the win, and all the eliminations that we saw, actually three teams, not only from Nexus, but also from Bunny, that were also just the kings of the South, able to get so many eliminations from that four-man split they were able to fully exude in that previous match. But here we go. It's time for match two. It's time for the dusty dunes of Miramar, and a pretty western playing path, but it will be fine for these teams to work with it. And I guess we're going to have a rotation to show the overall rankings just after that. I would like to see it, because at the top it is pretty top heavy. And there you go, 20 points for Mumia, 17 for Nexus, and 15 for Bunny Esports. So already three teams looking the part in that first game.
Yeah, and I mean, this is definitely the kind of start that you want to bring onto display here. Big Baby also still with a great opportunity to try and see if they can maybe also secure themselves a few additional plays. But I think for this match, and if you're going to be maybe leaning a little bit more towards the players there from Team Alpi, right? I want to see how they are going to be looking to get themselves paced over into the first Miramar.
I mean, they were able to win themselves a game on day two that I really did not think in 1,000 years Team Alpha were going to win, DK. So I want to see if they can replicate something like that. I've definitely got some interest in these teams. And that's, I think, the most important part we said about, you know, these teams are trying to build a bit of a reputation for themselves. They're going to try and get into, like, you know, other official tournaments, depending on how things go for them next year. I mean, there's other ways. And one thing I'm also got to keep in mind is that also you could get picked up as a solo player. If you play out of your bloody mind, a team might just want to pick you up. So we'll see. But Bunny seemed like they just love fragging out, and already versus TBR, get himself one and instantly flush him out. Not the way to go, but Merciless is, again, just living up to his name.
Yeah, I mean, Kazama, they're going to have a bit of a field day here as they find the trades 2 for 2 so far. But this is quite an interesting start coming through here from the side of Kazama. Starting off with only a 3-piece. Now they are down to 2 players, and this is really going to throw quite a bit of a spanner in the works for them.
They're a little bit undiluted too. I saw Teddy's got a Uzi and a Sawn-Off, which not the best loadout in the world you want to have in the early stage. So probably want to get some more weapons, and even I would even go to the safe. You can just leave. That would be the best. But it's good. This is good that this fight between Kazama and Bunny starts on day 1, DK, because entering in day 2 and day 3, I'm hoping we're not going to see this hot drop happen again, because as you see, even though Bunny sure got 2 eliminations, they lost a player. Chance of a win, now lost 2 players. Chance of a win, DK, down the drain pretty much. As it's 2 players over on this battleground, it's not going to work out. You need a full squad minimum if you want to have hopes of a strong, dominant win.
Yeah, but I think you still got to give it up to the side here of Kazama. I mean, only coming in with a 3-piece, managing to deal with the onslaught as Bunny tried to push on forward. I think this is a great start. Kazama could definitely look to bring in a few additional points. As we know, they started off the previous match, then ending with only 1 single point to their name. And now they already sit with 2 eliminations up.
I'm a little bit disappointed with Kazama because they all have the KZM team tag, except for Pretty. He has TBR. Why? I don't know. You got me confused. I thought it was another team, and then I saw KZM on the others. I'm like, wait a minute, it's Kazama. What are you on about? Gotta get that branding on point. Gets to Molly. Teddy sees it with that third-person perspective. Just gonna run away. But yeah, other than that, this fight not gonna really bring too much to the table. You can see the circle's about to close. So teams are gonna have to start to think to leave this position, but I think that when you're in this fight right now, it's a bit hard to leave it. Because actually, Teddy's able to leave the building. Actually, no, this is super easy to leave now. I thought he wasn't going to be able to, but now he was able to escape that close range grasp of Bunny. Can get to close and have an early Christmas away from Montenuevo.
Yeah, great gift indeed. Now it's going to be up to Twist and Nymphex to see just where they could get themselves situated. I think it's a decisive call being made here. Both teams, deciding maybe it's better if we go look for a position elsewhere. Maybe look to rotate on out of here. But speaking about positions, though, we can see quite a bit of contention still be held up into Waspozo. We get T-Bez, 4 Romanian boys, as well as Rush just hanging over onto the edge.
That's the typical Rush fight, right? We saw it back in the last chance stage. I'm happy that they're not getting too involved on this fight. They're just lingering on the eastern edge, which I think is the smart approach for this kind of fight. So just want to wait things out a little bit more. While Reikage is a bit more... Actually, I didn't realize, yeah, Reikage is in the city. While the 3 other players are, like, currently west of Power Grid and to the east of El Pozo. So, yeah, Reikage's just got to be a little bit careful. Seems like he really wants that loot, like, really bad. Like, he's going to die if he doesn't get it. Just be a bit cautious about that one, but...
yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I jinxed it for a second, but yeah, you better get out of there.
You gotta just show a little bit of self-control, right? You gotta fight the temptation to get your hands on the loot up ahead. But now it's gonna be up to Get Wrecked, looking to maybe follow through on their name here. I mean, we didn't see much of Get Wrecked over in the previous game, but now Sarah, Royal, right? We saw what they were able to do coming off of Erangel. But now they gotta translate those performances into a little bit more of a Dusty approach.
Could be, because right now I'm also looking at T-Pes going for the wide rotation south of El Pozo, which I think is the good approach. Not only are you going to get scouting of what's happening in El Pozo itself, you're also going to have a little bit of overview of Montenuevo and even a little bit north of Montenuevo, so you could have just a good scope of how you want to play the rest of this early game stage. Other than this, seems pretty chill overall. We've got Vengeance in the dead center of Phase 1 here, DK, which Picardo drop is great if you're there solo. And you got a lot of loot, got a lot of cars, you can easily rotate. And it gives you access to so many roads that can take you pretty much to any spot and any circle in the map. So Picardo is my personal drop because of that. It's just opens up a world of later game rotations depending on where it tends to shift.
I mean, I can see the value in holding onto such a centralized positioning, and I mean, it's going to be up to Vengeance to see whether or not they can defend that position should the other teams try to inch their way a little bit closer. Of course, Nexus, they are no threat at this point in time to the side of Vengeance, as they've got themselves all the way over on towards the eastern side. Full control of Impala, and very similar to what Vengeance has, is there's nobody here to contest them. But I'm going to be looking down in towards Chumacera, potentially. We've got Alpi having a little bit of a position alongside the players here from God's Ultimate.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a clash back and forth, but Alpi's got himself to church, which we know in this kind of terrain, it's the most broken position if you have the players to hold it down, which currently Alpi do. They got themselves a 4-man. while Fank is still a little bit further south to the east of Chumacera. So he's just going to be getting and offering a little cheeky off angle, but might want to try and regroup. But if the circle shifts here again on phase 2, you just got to defend that position like your life depends on it, because it kind of does. It is that good a position, which might explain why teams later on down the line might want to breach it away. But phase 2 is about to pop, and I want your circle predictions here, DK. Where is it going? 3, 2, 1?
La Bendita.
La Bandita. Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
could be an interesting one right now. Because there's Nexus. I get it, DK. You're biased. Okay, I'm joking. I'm biased a little bit. Oh, wow. Actually, not that bad. North of Los Leones position. La Bandita still in play. This circle sucks, DK, for one reason. The terrain is very different. Like, how you play the south and how you play the north is very different. So the circle isn't very telling, which is why phase 2 usually is good. It tells you how this game is going to play out. This one gives you no information. It could be a city finish or it could be an open field finish. You have no damn clue. So teams just are going to have to adapt on the fly on future rotates.
Yeah, and that is, I think, where a little bit of the excitement now comes through for these teams. They get to see how they're going to be able to cope with whatever the zone throws at them. But I think a good play being made there by the players coming through from Vengeance, rather, deciding to disengage out of Picado, being a little bit preemptive with that. I think just in the nick of time, especially seeing that Russia started to move in behind them.
Yeah, Russia always going to look for an opportunity to backfill if they have the chance. So, yeah, Vengeance got to be a little bit careful. They are going for one of my favorite spots in this kind of terrain. It's that warehouse. I used to call it the Nova warehouse, DK, 2-3 years ago, because Nova would always play that warehouse and ridgeline because it gives you so much positions to scout from, and also it's not the easiest to breach if you have no one entering from the eastern side, which isn't the case right now. So, could be looking good. As also BRX on their very own rotation north next to Hacienda del Patron. But really, because of these 2 shifts in a row, the east, there are so many opportunities for them to rotate that they should have no issues finding a soft position to play from.
Yeah, I think especially moving into a zone like this, finding that initial soft position could really help just set up a bit of a buffer in anticipation of the other teams still have, trying to find their way on forward.
Yeah.
But for the Foramanian boys, they definitely got to pray that they've now been able to secure some kind of an angle, some kind of a push, as they are just slowly trickling out of the zone. But speaking about trickling, it's going to be Mumia and Big Baby finding each other over onto the southeastern side.
Oh yeah, they're trickling real good. They're trickling bullets right now, also Mumia and Big Baby. So a little bit of back and forth. Baban is going to be taken out. Oh, that sucks. Not the way you want to start off your adventure here on the only Miramar of the day. But they still have themselves overlaid. And his partner, Marmalade, still lingering. Yeah, it's an unfortunate rotation. It's a smart rotation from both teams, DK, I'd say, but it's just, unfortunately, they crash on a rotation and they start to lose players, so you have to commit somewhat to the fight. Like here, Maniac is going to push the fight with his teammates. Dennis, I mean, there's no chance. Unless we get one of the most insane 1v3 clutches, this is not going to go the way he wants.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one to defend indeed. Now it's going to boil down.
Woo!
Ooh.
Nice try.
A beautiful hit, though, onto Dennis.
Yeah, nice try. Got to respect it. Got to respect it. Surprised to see if the Big Baby players were going to join up, but they didn't. So I'm a bit surprised by that. But yeah, there's a few soft locations you can play on the eastern side, as I mentioned earlier. Nexus currently going for a bit of a wider split than I thought, so not going for those soft temporary locations. They really want to just play the hard center, which I'm okay with if that's your approach for Nexus. I mean, they definitely have the fragging potential to play such a spot. So I am A-okay with it. But the circle did pop here, DK. La Bandita is going to be a bit outside of the circle, but Los Leones is still in play. And the northern side's got so many big ridges to play from, which is what Nexus are doing. And I already remember seeing Nexus getting himself in PMPL EU like a 15 elimination game, I think, from this position. So 10-15 elimination. So they know how to play this kind of terrain to almost perfection.
I think, ooh, good trade there by Bozanak. But I think especially for Nexus, having that elevated position smacked up center zone, that is going to be a very, very strong point, as you've already pointed out. So, yeah, they have what it takes to defend. Speaking about defense, though, Team Alpi, they're going to have to mount quite a bit of defense here. As you can see, Vengeance and potentially Bunny could come rushing forward.
Bunny again, losing some valiant players in the process. We still have Twist, and Infex Twist was a very integral part of the winning condition for his team. He's got so many strong angles early on Erangel, but now they don't quite have the players to do such expressive and oppressive splits. I'm not quite sure how this one is going to be wrapping up for them. A rush here, taking the fight. They're not quite in circle here, DK. They got themselves a sneaky 2-2 split, but they want to apply the pressure over onto Epsilon. And what an engage from Matana, one of the top players from the last chance stage. And you see hit showing up once more.
Oh, this is exactly the kind of rush that we want to see a little bit more of. But Tornado, though, with the reach into Metano, that is going to be a big, big upset.
Threads the needle right behind that rock. And I think that second one might just seal the deal. It does indeed. That's going to be the end of the line for Matana. But I'm liking what we're seeing from BRX here. They want a third party. They see this fight. They could clear a chunk of this circle already, DK, and get a few eliminations in the process. I like this from BRX. I think this is an amazing showcase of how aggressive they want to be. So, in terms of morale, that's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yes, sir. They're going to have to ace it, though, because they've got the angles. They've got quite a bit of a battered and bruised rush position just up ahead of them as the utilities continue to fly on through. Oh, Epsilon Axe, though. Tornado not going to be sticking around all too much. Instead, they are going to be looking to get themselves into a little bit more of a secure position. I mean, Shroom, though, doesn't have many options with regards to that.
Okay, DK, do we predict a Nexus win with this circle? I mean, I think it's tough to predict anyone else than Nexus in this kind of exact circle. We'll see. Rush is going to be picked up one by BRX, and they get 2 eliminations for their troubles and so much extra space up north. But they're not quite in this circle, so they need to start already thinking of what their next move is going to be. Because north, sure, you got that little warehouse that they can use temporarily as a soft spot. But further than that, making it through those fields with where Eagles are playing for, I think also you got AA up on the northern edge. They are going to have a rough transition. So BRX, you really need to start thinking about how you want to play this next circle.
Yeah, they do have quite a bit of an opportunity and a great chance now to get themselves decently situated. But I think in the meanwhile, the pressure is going to rely, or rather turn to the side here of Alpi, as they need to try and fend off against the side of potentially Vengeance and Bunny, who we see hanging on the edge here. Marindo is going to be focusing in rather on trying to kick up a storm as they try and pick up the plays here onto Tornado. I'm not quite sure if Tornado, though, is going to allow for that play. But look at this. Alpi could definitely sneak in behind Vengeance.
They really could. I think that would be a good move for them. I'm just not sure. Right now, they don't have to move. They can just chill in this little building. No one's going to get close enough to nade it. So you can just wait for Vengeance to have to cross the road, cross the fields, and then just pick them apart one by one. I think that is a good game plan from Alpi. Just don't overdo it. Just take it nice and easy. Exotic Alliance, though. Team that I thought might have a little bit of a clash with BRX. I like it on BRX. They all had to go for the very aggressive rotation path or just take a fight up against one of the teams that have one of the strong positions. They wanted to take a fight versus Exotic Alliance. They lost it. Go for the warehouse, recuperate, heal up, then go for the rotation afterwards, which is a good kind of salvage plan, but it goes to show how tough this transition actually is for BRX.
Yeah, I mean, big ups to BRX, though, for showing that flexibility in their approach, right? Not overly committed, just blindly trying to play into one particular position. I think the adaptability on their end could definitely favor them quite a bit here. Yeah. But, well, the blue is not going to be favoring Tornado, though, as fortunately for them, they are very close to zone. But the unfortunate part is we're stage 4, about to hit stage 5, and I don't think they've got enough meds to survive this.
Definitely not. I'd like to see his POV, just to see if he still has first aid or some stems he can play from. But yeah, he's going to be in the red now. I don't think we're going to see him make it any further this game, and Vengeance aren't going to give up that little bit of line of defense they've set up northwest. Nexus, a little bit scared though for Nexus. I know I bring them up quite a bit this game, but that's how strong a spot it actually is. Kapahala is split apart from the rest of his team by Mumia. There's 2 players, and Amit in particular is a bit of a spooky guy to deal with. Not sure how Kapahala is going to be able to regroup. They're waiting for the circle, but Kapahala might be in a bit of a world of hurt here, DK.
Yeah, but knowing Kapahala, I don't think they are going to be feeling all too stressed. I mean, Exo, Doran could definitely help alleviate a little bit of that pressure onto the side of Mumia. And now Kapahala needs to make a little bit of that magic happen as we do say goodbye over to Tornado. But no, right, God's Ultimate, they find themselves smack dab center zone. And again, not the worst setup to have. Yes, it is a little bit of a lower ground positioning. It is quite vulnerable to the side there of Nexus. But I think what counts in their favor is the fact that currently Nexus are quite split up. So there's not going to be that full-on spray down coming through from up top the hill.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be a bit overconfident entering into this. But we just saw God's Ultimate on the minimap, DK. It was very important thing to point out. They had a 2-2 split, which is my favorite kind of strategy in these kind of circles. Wait for the circle to pop, regroup in the strongest position you're currently holding out of the 2. Great regroup, playing as 4, and as you said, Nexus playing split. Currently, God's Ultimate, if they took a fight, would have technically the advantage by doing so, because they can just fully use that 4-man advantage that they currently have in their arsenal. Trying to leave the field, again, is going to be tough. But Alpi, you mentioned it earlier, DK. They're in a good spot. They didn't have to move. And now the teams are all just in so much trouble north. They could just leapfrog that position and get in the circle once more.
Yeah, well, beautiful read on the situation. They are, however, very, very close there to at least one player coming through from the side of Nexus. As you can see, Vengeance now getting dealt dirty as the big bad blue zone catches up with them. Bunny also not going to be looking to waste any time. As you can see, Nymphex just breaking off, pushing on forward. But Vengeance slowly trickling in as we do say goodbye to BRX.
Oh, Vengeance, they didn't have a successful breach in game 1. They do really have a good one. Wait, yeah, everyone's pretty much dead in that building. Good stuff coming out from them. But there's still 2 other players from Alpi in the other side of this compound. The Mollies on the roof. Don't think that was intentional, but that's where it connected. But Redox is just overlooking. He's like, get some popcorn. He's like watching a movie. He's like, oh, this is a great breach. I'm loving this. It's fantastic. I love this.
Yeah, enjoying the view.
The Michael Bay breach. Oh, yeah.
I don't think Vengeance are going to be, feeling as relieved just yet. They do have a little bit of a position still being held against them here. But of course, then as we transition over on towards that eastern side, rather, it's going to be Exotic Alliance and Nexus now prepping for a little bit of a play.
Okay, good from Doran. He did not overstay his welcome. He saw that there was going to be a team coming up north, Exotic Alliance, from their spot, and he just instantly regroups. Great kind of passive approach. You don't want to really take these fights as a solo, which, of course, that goes without saying. But Nexus, Kapahala is slowly going north of Mumia. You can see on the minimap. So he's going to really try and regroup onto Redox, onto Doran, onto Exo to play the entirety of this game as a 4-man squad. Though the circle is once again lingering, ready to center up somewhere else. And if he goes on God's ultimate, it is going to be tough to take it away from them. They know how strong this spot actually is. They regrouped after that 2-2 split. I want to try and play the entire game from there.
Ooh.
As Redox just raining it down.
Yeah, trying to add a little bit of fuel to the fire here. Trying to see if they can maybe play a bit of an upset. Unfortunately, the nade's not really finding its way through those little cracks.
Why are you wasting nades, though? I don't get it. Like, sure, you want to try and, like, oh, I want to get involved in a fight. You don't need to. This fight does not... You're not involved in this fight at all. Don't use that utility unless you're 100% sure to be able to connect a knock. Because right now, you're going to need some utility against the side of Exotic Alliance. And he's coming with an MG3 here. That's going to be some heavy weaponry that Nexus are going to have to deal with. It's going to be a 4-on-4 fight. The fight over for the East.
Ooh, cheeky deliverance coming through there with the vehicle. But Kapahala fighting a way off that mountain. Unfortunately, they will get traded on down as Raj comes through with a head. Up comes Redox, though. Beautiful bush.
Redox! What? He's only got 6 bullets remaining now, but a little bit of a third party happens for Mumia. They want to get all of those knocks and eliminations for themselves. Maniac just... Does he still have health? What? How is he alive? He's a real mummy. He just came back from the dead. That's not supposed to work that way. But with the smokes, they're going to be able to just buy a little bit more precious time. But we talked about it earlier, right, DK, that Kapahala's angle may be a bit too wide. He did get punished as he tried to regroup. And now Mumia want to take the advantage up against Nexus.
Well, let's see whether or not Doran can
Bah,
deliver the
bah.
blow. Oh, absolutely dirty. Next one up. Let's see whether or not Ahmed can survive the push here. Oh, but Doran, you got to love this position. Great utilization of the ridge coming through. And yep, that is it. Mumia getting wrapped up as they get sent away.
They're going to be able to heal also Kapahala. You just know. Oh my god. I thought it was game over for Nexus here. GK was like, there's two teams fighting them at the same time. It's a mess. It's all over the place. But no, they are going to bring it back from the brink of death. That's just how Nexus are. They're feeling the heat. They're feeling... They're just feeling it. They're in the zone. They're vibing, DK. Real good over to the east. And now they're going to have full access to that high ground position. No one is going to be able to snatch it away from their grasp. So after that double heal, they're going to be looking like top contenders for this win. But God's Ultimate still in the center. Only one elimination. But that means to me, DK, they still have a ton of resources to play this later stage, which Nexus might not fully have.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all going to be decided once we see where this next zone shift takes us. But in the meanwhile, I mean, Eagles also with a beautiful perch, as we saw over on towards that western side. Ooh, but look at the four Romanian boys pushing in from the southern edge. Again, utilizing all the construction happening up here in towards Los Leones. But Lawrence definitely needs to find a little bit of a better hiding place.
Oh, Ketu from I want to call them skip zone. Why is there a Q in the name? I don't know. I thought it was
Squip zone.
Squip zone. I like that. It's kind of like squippy. I don't know. Four Romanian boys nicely does give up that high ground spot on the buildings. On the scaffolding, can't play it any longer. But Keto with a Kar 98. He's got his Kar 98. And he's going to shoot you down with it. And with an M4, which again is pretty much a sniper.
Ooh. Alright, Larex. With a beautiful bit of suppressive play rather coming through there. Not quite sure what suppressive is, but we'll take it. In the meanwhile, Nexus, they're going to have to start to move on forward. And this is, I think, where the position could get actually played against them, especially with the setup coming through here from God's Ultimate.
I'm wondering, didn't Nexus loot up that MG3 from Exotic Alliance? If they did, that is going to be a very, very important weapon for the late game. Because I can tell you, in your own games at home, guys, if you can play with the MG3, it is absolutely busted. The fire rate, pretty damn high, and the accuracy also pretty good if you can control the beast. But God's Ultimate here, still down below. Actually, from that distance, I think, GK, that Nexus could throw some smokes to block out the doorways and block out vision. I think that's what we're seeing them do. This is a great way to approach it for Nexus.
Well, they're going to have quite a bit of an arm to reach all the way down into that exact position. But let's see how this one plays out. In the meanwhile, there's going to be Doran keeping a very, very close eye up top of the rock here. Still quite a bit of an opportunity at the expense of Eagles and potentially even the side of Vengeance. But now it's going to be Striker getting struck with the lead up to Maximo to see whether or not they can maximize the opportunity.
Oh, what a shot! Again from Doran in the car, and he can't even make it out of the blue. They cleared so much extra space. And you saw how many eliminations Kapahala got early? Not eliminations, but knocks. Like, the Warlord is back in full swing. But Doran, you're too far! Oh, you can't play that position. You got to go a little bit higher up. While Nexus send Redox and Exo down in the depth of the valley to fight Team Alpi and Vengeance. Can they clear these two teams away from the compound as a two-man? We'll have to see how it's going to work out, but it's not going to be an easy breach.
Ooh, but good read coming in through here from Redox. Misses the...
What? What? Redox! You are joking me. Oh, okay, he's going to get picked up, but that was one insane play from Redox. There is no way he got away with that. He got away with murder, DK, literally. What?
I mean, you can't script this. You absolutely cannot script this. It just happens the way it does. But no, Nexus still in the fight, sitting on 12 eliminations to their name, absolutely dominating this lobby so far with eliminations.
Yeah, though, still, Vama 69, also having himself that car, 98. Just waiting for Doran to jump off, but there's no way. Nexus, Only with Kapahala, sure, he's had himself a great game, but doesn't matter again, DK. Look, they got 12 eliminations. Boom, done and dusted. That's another great banger of a match, especially when Mumia has already died early in the match. That means they technically should be in that first place position after this game. Great nade onto Teddy, but Teddy, I think, is just behind the door of the crate. He is indeed, so he can negate the nade damage. And he's going to try and reposition, because in a position like that, you've got so many hiding spots, DK. Even a solo like Teddy could outlive a lot of these squads.
Yeah, they definitely could.
Did Kapahala just get a double nade again? What?
Ooh, wow. Teddy, though. Yeah.
Kapahala again, he got involved. He tried to third party this. Wait, that nade. Come on, do it for me. Do it for me, Kapahala. Oh, a little bit short, and also they're in the building. But what is this guy eating breakfast? I have no idea. He doesn't quite get overlaid. But because we said it, you got so many hiding spots, DK, he could just linger in these containers and just wait things out and maybe get a podium finish, which is what I think he's currently aiming for.
Yeah, well, as we know, Kapahala definitely capable of pulling off such a maneuver. But speaking about maneuvers, ooh, it's going to be Squip now trying to find themselves in a bit of a play. Yeah, Squip zone starting to push forward as we've now hit stage number 9. We still have 7 teams alive. And, well, that blue zone is going to get real bad real quick.
7 teams alive, 16 players still up and running about, and we're on the last circle. That means the circle is going to go dead center right now. Skip zone, I would pin as a team in a really strong spot, because that warehouse of God's Ultimate is not going to be in play for long. But for Romanian boys, they have their options open. Do we go for the Eastern fight, or do we go for the Western fight onto Skip zone? I think that if you're for Romanian boys, that might be the better play, as Lawrence, with a great molly, opens up the fight. But Kapahala does reach the end of his rope, gets eliminated with Nexus in 7th position.
Ooh, there we go, though. I mean, Nexus, phenomenal play. 12 eliminations are very, very aggressive indeed. But now it's going to be up to, at least, well, Arabu here from the side of Big Baby. They've been carrying the team essentially with all the eliminations, but now let's see if they can potentially carry the team all the way into success. There is an opportunity to bring Overlay back into the fight as the HP are slowly just starting to dip on down. But Squipzorn are going to be wrapping up at least that southern side. Now they can focus over on towards the 4 Romanian boys.
Everyone's forgotten about Team Alpi right now also, DK. He's there as a solo. No one's looking at his ridgeline. He could snatch away a potential win. The 4 Romanian boys trying to send it over. Twist still being a pain. Does take the blue zone damage here for 4 Romanian boys. Can't make it any further in this match. And God's Ultimate taking a fight against a solo player of Big Baby. It's Arabo, and he gets taken down. Ooh. God's Ultimate make it to the podium finish, but Team Alpi DK still alive, and no one has a clue. Sandrick is just around the corner.
Oh, this could be huge. This could be so huge. Twist now. Oh, it's going to go right on down. And this is the opportunity now for Cedric. Come on, get it. Oh!
That's it. That's the Team Alpi chicken dinner that we know and love. And you said it already, DK, at the start of the game. You want to see an Alpi win. They did it in the last chance stage, and they do it once again right here in the grand finals. We said it, a solo in a circle like this, because it is tough to check out all those little pieces of terrain, all those little also crate positions. A solo can win these games technically, and Sandrick from Team Alpi proved it right here, right now.
I mean, what an insane turn of events we've seen come through. I mean, we've seen Northern Los Leones be a challenging play, right? It looked like Nexus had this one in the bag, but unfortunately, the zone turned against them. The players were able to just find those plays, those pops into their side. But at the end of the day, Team Alpi climbing to the very tippity top, but Nexus still finishing with 12 elims.
Wait, Nexus got more points than the team that won the game with only 1 placement point. Do you see how nutty is that from Nexus? 12 eliminations on the match, 13 points total. God damn. How good are these guys? I mean, of course, they were pinned as a favorite team entering into this. This is just the proof as to why they're seen as the favorite. But Team Alpi said it. Solos can win games, but God's Ultimate, we really have to highlight how good their macro was in the mid stage, right? Going from that 2-2 split DK, regrouping in what was at the time the best position and ended up being the big POI to contest away, ends up giving them a strong option for the podium.
I mean, what an insane play. I mean, Nexus, eliminations, equal exactly what the side of Team LP were able to bring in totality here. I mean, this is just insane to see such numbers being brought through. But again, a very, very satisfactory performance coming in here. But you got to give it up to everything that we've been seeing here so far. I mean, Team Kazama, they stepped it up. They brought a little bit more aggression out onto the battlefield. And I think that's the way we see the teams becoming a little bit more comfortable with this whole situation.
And then you see Rush, that's just, again, taking a fight. It's like, Mom, I want Team Nexus. It's like, oh, we got Nexus at home. Nexus at home, it's Rush. It's just, they try to be that aggressive, but it just doesn't quite go the entire way sometimes. And we are in a lobby where you are going to get punished. But this fight, Redox, how does he get away with that? He's face to face up against two players, one of those players with an MG3 in hand, and then he does this against a DPS with a UMP. Redox, maybe not the MVP in terms of stats, but in terms of like drip and just overall riz, he is the MVP of this game.
I mean, there's not much that you can argue with what Redox did there. And also, I mean, Redox, was able to dodge that blue zone damage, right?
Yeah.
It was right there. Had they stayed a split second longer, we could have seen them fall there as well. But I think what was also quite interesting to see, and what I think is really coming to the foreground here, is Rush, a very aggressive team, right? Really capable of locking in the eliminations. I think where the difficulty lies for them is also then playing a positional play throughout these matches.
Yeah. I also love it in the end of that game, you had Varma69 from God's Ultimate get the elimination on one of the other players. Like, cool, we won. And he's like, wait, why is the game not ending? Oh no, we're in trouble right now. But that's it for Miramar, by far my favorite game so far this PMCO season. But we've got still 2 more matches before we wrap up day 1 of these grand finals. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon with some good old Sanhok action. To the top, we will fit in your, we will fit in your, we will fit in your box, no. We don't quit, we won't stop, no. Ride us all to the top, whoa. We will fit in your box, no. Thank you, Ben, for coming out tonight. My name is Sanhok. Let's go. What a game. And you know what? It was so good. We're not even going to do Sanhok. We're just going to go back to Miramar. Okay, no, we've got to go to Sanhok. But I really want to almost replay that game because it was just that damn good of a match. And I mean, we said it, solos here, DK could win themselves the match. And Team Alpi, as a full team, they could win it in the last chance. And even as a solo with Sandrick, they can do it once more.
Yeah, I think on that one also my predictive juices have run out. You know, I want to quit while I'm ahead. Not.
All of your prediction
least...
luck was gone that game. I hope you know.
Yeah. I mean, I invested all of it right there into LP. At least it panned out. It worked out. I'm happy so far. I've got 3 correct predictions, so I'm feeling pretty chuffed with that. But you know, of course, now approaching a bit of Sanhok. I don't quite know what to expect as we are going to be moving in here. We, of course, know coming through from last chance, Team T-Pez, they were able to just play an insane performance over on Sanhok, where they got themselves 2 winner-winner chicken dinners. But I guess the big team here to watch, no real surprise actually coming through from Alpi, because as we know, last chance, they actually got 4 winner-winner chicken dinners.
Yeah, they had an absolute wild field day. During the last chance stage, and then they're trying to replicate it here. Sure, it's maybe not the most dominant and expressive chicken dinner we've ever seen, but it's still a win, so we'll just take it. But Nexus, they don't need wins, they just need eliminations, it seems. But my prediction, if I had to predict the team before the game even started, I want to see God's Ultimate do another great game, because they got that great steal away from Big Baby, I think it was, back in the last chance stage. So that's where my prediction is going to go as we get ready for the jungle. It's Sanhok o'clock, as we're ready to see who is going to be dominating the good old jungle of Sanhok. I said it twice.
But speaking about... yeah, it's a name so nice you got to say it twice. It makes sense. It makes sense. But speaking about it being Sanhok o'clock, right? Do you think this is the match in which you could potentially see Nexus adding placement points on top of the sheer aggression they're showing out on the battlefield?
Look, if you're a fan of Nexus, you've known how they played in PMPL, you know how they played in Championship. This team does not know what a placement point is, okay? They have no idea. Like, placement point? That exists? What? I thought we could only get points by eliminating people. Oh my god, that's so cool. No, they are very elimination focused. But I think we're going to see a win eventually. Maybe not today from Nexus, but does it really matter, DK, when you get this many eliminations per game? I don't think so. I think it's fine. I think they're just going to play their own game. It's just got to be a bit careful on those splits. They got punished almost really, really hard previous match. Luckily enough, they were able to heal up after their fight with Exotic Alliance and Mamiya Esport. But other than that, got to trust the process, right? It's Nexus. They're here. They're gaming. They're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean...
Wait. On the island where literally, except for Rogo, no one dropped? I think I've never seen that. That's insane. What?
Maybe Rogo just exerts such presence that the rest of the lobby is like, you know what? Maybe we should not go there.
It's Rogo Island. Oh yeah, I would go. Hey, you know what? If there was an island in the real world that was called Rogo Island, I would go there on vacation. Okay, that's a cool name. It's a good vibe. I like it.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, and there could be a lot of greenery as well.
Why?
Because that's what we have right now on Rogo's Island.
Oh, I thought you meant like there's something with the name Rogo. I was like, what do you mean? Okay,
no,
yeah, it's true. There is grass. It used to be the Gladiator Island, but from recent results, we can't call it Gladiator Island. It's inbound for rename. So Rogo Island it is. That's the official name now.
I mean, and Rogo's in the appropriate team as well, right? God's Ultimate. So I think that's, it's quite fitting.
I mean, they dropped Trifecta from the River Trifecta, which I keep hitting it every time. If you guys have never heard me cast PUBG Mobile Esports before, I always talk about this goddamn compound. It's Trifecta. It's so good because it gives you access to all the islands. And God's Ultimate right now, what they're doing is they have Rogo already crossed onto the island northwest, or also known as Rogo Island. And once they're done looting, they're just going to regroup with Rogo and play it from there. It's a trial and tested strategy. So I wouldn't be surprised to see God's Ultimate get themselves a nice run this match. Though, BRX and Rush love early game fights, it seems, as, again, they're having a little bit of a clash.
Yeah. Let's see whether or not Rush can maybe get a little bit further into this game, right? Make it beyond 15th, 16th position. The pressure is going to be on though, but YKG, a nice little bit of a quiet hidey hole that they've got on the edge there. But Aussie might definitely look to just lay into the side of them if they find the opportunity.
Not sure how this one is going to pan out. We are seeing Godfather play the roof, I believe, in a distance. So he's really just making sure that BRX can't use those ridges to their full potential. But man, Raikage and Boka are just pinned down on this ridge. The only way they can easily escape is going in the water, but it's not even easy because you just can't even shoot back. So you're just going to get picked away. So right now, you are really reliant on Godfather making full use of that ridge. Which, as of right now, is working out. Raikage, too, with a QBZ in a distance, has some decent angles to work with. But yeah, Poka and Raikage are they're just in a world of trouble. I really don't know how they're going to escape from this. Because it's a tough one. It's a tough one to predict here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough play. Both having a little bit of a standoff there. In the meanwhile, we did see the players there from God's Ultimate now fully committing over to Rogo Island. But we also did see the Eagles step up. And I'm curious as to whether or not the Eagles actually got permission from Rogo to enter their island, you know, because you don't want to step on people's toes here, but who knows? They might settle their difference in a bit of a playoff.
Maybe just lob of a handshake. Well, that's an aggressive handshake. Okay, someone died to the handshake, but Ozzy Osbourne's going to get picked up, and that's going to be BRX now on the back foot. But you can't escape this fight. You know that Rush, the moment they see the slightest chance to get more eliminations, you know they're going to send it here. QBU also used by Eagle Esport. They're going to confirm onto Rogo. Rogo's island has been deserted by Rogo. I can't believe it, but Rush also get himself another one. It's Raikage. Gets one, gets two. And BRX now in shambles. Depressed. And going to have to think about how they want to play the rest of this match.
Yeah, I mean, but this is a good turnaround coming through from Rush. Definitely being able to deal quite a bit of a hit into the side of BRX. Touch now. Going to be looking to touch the other kind of blue that we have on, you know, these maps as well. So it's not just the big bad blue zone. There's also the lovely big pond surrounding the island. Speaking of the island, though, we are seeing more and more teams now starting to head in that direction. Trifecta, though, is going to start to heat up as we've got, well, Exotic Alliance as well as Team Kazama on opposite ends of the waterway.
Yeah, right now, Kazama are in a better position because that is the side of the river split that you can actually cross to the northwest island. Currently not quite the case for Exotic Alliance, and they're also pinned. They can't escape because Bunny is in Bootcamp Hill, so they're just pinched between two squads. So I'm not quite hopeful for how Exotic Alliance are going to play this one. But Big Baby, they heard this fight. They're like, we want a piece of that. We want to push onto Rush. But Matana, sure, he's solo. He could... Okay, I take it back. He's solo. I wanted to hype him up and say, but it's Matana. He can clutch it out. No, he can't.
I mean, there's only so much that you can do as a solo, especially going up against a team like Big Baby. We've seen what they can do over on Sanhok. I think this is a good decision being made by the rest of Rush as they, you know, start to rather focus their positioning more towards the edge. And we could see a potential rotation coming through on that end as well. Team Alpi, 4 Romanian boys in Mumia, they still have quite a bit of ground to cover here.
You actually mentioned a botation. I'd love to see one from Skip Zone if they are waiting for Phase 2 Circle in Cal. They should be a boat spawn over there. You could use it to go for Heart In. You could technically do that. I would not go for Heart In right away because you can't scout it if you are Skip Zone. But you can go for the compounds, trash loots, and trash drops over to the west of it. I think, DK, if I were any of these guys, I would go for it. Maybe in the same for BRX. Big Baby could go for that rotation. Mumia 2, they're still in Camp Charlie, hard south in the circle. So rotations, maybe not that bad of an option. But a team that is in a pretty bad spot right now is still going to be Exotic Alliance, that still pinched between these two teams. I don't see a bright future for these guys, unfortunately, unless they have one of the most insane fightbacks that I've seen in a long, long time. This fight is just not going to work out.
I mean, there could be a little bit of a potential saving grace coming through from Epsilon Axe, who we can see moving in from the western side, and
Oh yeah.
they are slowly encroaching up on Kazama, so there could be a golden opportunity here. And I mean, Bunny, they are not fully committing, right? You can see we got Recent holding on the front line. The rest of the team is all situated back in boot camp.
I am seeing some interesting moves. We are looking at Nexus, which this is where they drop. This is where they'll have to play. They know this terrain like the back of their hand, GK. This is where the Nexus legacy was born, almost you could say. Well, not quite, but it was a cool sentence to say, so I wanted to say it. Exo, a little bit stranded, which is something that can hurt Nexus sometimes. They are a little bit too split from time to time and can get punished, so Exo is going to try and just dash his way back into the buildings. You're not safe. Skip zone. Want to ship you into the afterlife. So Exo's got to be a bit cautious of what his next move is going to be.
But I think what could be interesting here is that rotation coming through from Doran. Doran actually going to the opposite end, right? Flanking in behind Script Zone. So there could be quite a bit of a play to be had. Speaking about plays though, Mumia getting dealt quite a bit of a blow as Alpi defends the edge here, and now they get in the vehicles, they leave them to their fate to see whether or not they can survive whatever damage the Blue Zone is going to be bringing on towards them. But Maniac, this is not the most comfortable spot to be in.
Most importantly, DK, they lost to Amit, which we've seen it for Mumia 2 games in a row now. Amit is a standout player for the squad, so it's definitely not the guy you want to lose early on. But we're seeing also in the elimination feed, the fight breakout Nexus fully engaging onto Skip Zone. And doesn't seem like it's going to work. You're not going to get the res. He's going to die to Blue Zone. Wait, is he? Wait. No way. He's actually got... I guess he is. Oh my... Oh no! That was so cool. He actually got the res too. Oh, that's evil, Moxito. Absolutely evil. And there's even a little bit of an off angle that's going to eliminate the entire squad. So that's it for Mumia Esport. No opportunity to do well. Look at Nexus. They're just playing with their food. They're just like, oh, we don't have to flush. Okay, they're going to flush it. They just want to get themselves 4 eliminations from the get-go. Only King remains, and he's going to be dethroned very soon. The Regicide is going on.
Ooh, but actually, the natives found itself into the side there of Doran, so that flank not working out as they would have anticipated. So there's still a bit of an opportunity as King... well, gets one of the subjects now secured. Will they find the rest though? I think definitely looking at Redox as they are pushing up aggressively. This could be a potential finish coming in.
Could be the case. And he's got another nade too. If it connects onto Redox, that'll be big. I think Redox is learning from Dorian's mistake, which is nades pretty good. So you want to be careful how you're going to play that out. And it's just phase 3 too. You can tank that Blue Zone for quite a while, and he still has a first aid. He's got himself some stems also. So he can easily tank this one and just lose a lot of time for Nexus, most importantly here. He doesn't want to take that fight. He just wants to waste time for Nexus, so he has an opportunity to escape. That's clearly the game plan. Akapahale's also a little bit further away. Gets some nice damage. Hits one, but Exo is there to wrap up the fight. Great usage of the smoke there, going around the 2 sides. Big Baby, as we go over to another fight, over to the western bridge of the map. Epsilon Axe taking the fight on Big Baby. As it's only Furia taking a fight. Hits 1, hits 2 almost. And he does get it locked down, but he's low now. Can he be looking for the 1v3? He's not going to be given time to heal up. He goes for the DBS shot, but the DBS is mightier than the other DBS, it seems. And it's going to be Big Baby to win himself the fight and should be able to get himself up as a 3-man squad.
Yeah, I mean, what a clutch up coming through here from Big Baby, but now comes the big hurdle. Of course, they still need to get themselves out of the danger zone here. Speaking about danger... You can see Bunny also running into a little bit of difficulty as they are quite exposed. The 4 Armenian boys now pushing up alongside them. Meanwhile, you see Exotic Alliance also still going to be just occupying that southern edge. But, I mean, we've got LP and Kazama looking to lock down the edge.
Got some great fights happening here, but Kazama having their possibility to gatekeep all of these teams. Team Alpi, also Exotic Alliance. I think that they could have themselves a nice one, but Team Alpi, they're always here to ruin it for people, DK. I don't know what it is, but it's their branding, it seems, just a ruiner of matches. Don't even know if that's a word, but we're going to just go with it, and because of that, Frank is instantly going to send it over with his team, and they are fully going to be defending this warehouse. Warehouse? warehouse. The lisp is still there. It's not what's going on. Exotic Alliance off the back of that understand we don't want to take this fight anymore. We lost Fank, which is clearly a very standout player from what we've seen. So they're just going to let that one slide by.
Yeah, I mean, Team LP definitely going to be looking to capitalize on a bit of that upset that they could look to play. But now, as you can see, Moxito reaching up into Teddy is going to be up to Preeti. See how this tree could maybe service them. But the pressure could also then be played coming through there from the side of Eagle. So we see just a little bit further up the hill as we do say goodbye to Bunny Esports.
I am really excited to see how Eagle are going to play that mountain, especially now. The circle shifting back on that position. I want to see how they're going to regroup. I see Gladiators use this position so slowly in the past. I want to see how Eagle are going to play this one out. What that twist on this circle is going to be. While Team Kazama sure have one knocked, but Teddy will get rezzed pretty much instantly. And that circle, I'm really excited for Eagle. I cannot express how excited I am to see this one, DK, because as I said, Gladiators play it so slow. I want to see a team show how this spot should be played.
Well, we're going to find out very, very soon exactly what the approach will be, at least for the side of Eagles. Meanwhile, it is going to be Kazama trying to maybe get themselves back into a little bit more of a secure position. Team LP also prepping up for a little bit of something here. But I think for LP, they could potentially try and maybe rotate up alongside the western side. As you can see, there's a bit of an opening available to them, but they're going to have to be very wary of what Kazama is going to be bringing through. And of course, to add to that, we've got even more pressure now starting to build up as, well, Exotic Alliance are going to be pulling in right alongside Team LP here.
I actually really agree with your point of going for a wide wrap on the west. And actually with that car, I think that's their game plan. They can't get backstabbed by Exotic Alliance because currently they are still behind the building of the warehouse. But the thing is, there is still Kazama that see them from a distance. Oh, I was like, they're not going really fast. They might be out of fuel. That's not the best time to be out of fuel. They do make it out. And now it leaves Exotic Alliance to take the fight, eliminate a few players of Kazama. And that's going to be Klaus picked up. Going to try and survive a little bit longer, but I think they're going to help him out. And with the blue zone ticking down, I think that we might be losing another player. And indeed, Mori will be the next one on his knees.
And we've not really seen any team necessarily go to town with regards to those eliminations that we just had it there. Everybody's sitting on, well, the highest tally we have at this point in time is, of course, coming through on 5. But Exotic Alliance, they're going to have to put up quite a bit of a push here if they want to secure their first elim. Kazama, though, trying to set up a bit of a gatekeep as there's still quite a few opportunities down below. Team LP, yeah, they are going to be beaten on down. They won't be able to rotate forward. And now, Exotic Alliance, golden opportunity for a bit of a play.
I can't really fault Team Alpi too much, DK. I think it was the only plan they could have gone for, but unfortunately it's just not quite easy terrain to maneuver through. So, yeah, unfortunately a little bit of an early exit from this match, but they still did some nice presence. Though, from Eagle, this is a wide split that they still have right now. That is the part that scares me, that we see Gladiators do quite a lot in these kind of positions. They hold this split for maybe a bit too long from time to time. And, because of that, if you lose a player, a whole massive portion of the circle is just going to be given up to other squads. So that does scare me a little bit. I want to see, hopefully, Eagle trying to regroup in due time. Though God's Ultimate, do we call this an impossible rotation for God's Ultimate? I think it's time to call it the impossible rotation. Unless a miracle happens and they dip out in the blue, they can't make it out of this position.
Well, I mean, they could maybe still squeeze through on the southern side. There is a little slither of area that they could use to move
I don't think they
up
have cars,
alongside
though.
I mean, if they want to try it, they're going to have to do it right now because, well, time's running out, right? Blue zone is going to start to close on through, and the pressure is going to be on. Speaking about pressure, though, I mean, there's still such a difficult position to be played throughout the entirety of the zone. I mean, Rush, they're still alive somehow, some way, but I'm not quite even sure where they are currently situated on this map.
Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, but what was Kapahala? He was playing hide and seek right there. Not sure what the game plan was, but that's it for Nexus. 8th position. A little bit of extra loot going to be gifted over nicely to Vengeance, but God's Ultimate still have yet to initiate their rotations. I'm still waiting. As you said, they could squeeze south, but I don't think Kazama are going to allow that to happen. They're going to hear the footsteps or the cars if they still have cars, but I don't think they do. As now Eagle, as we said, still split. That could be a good nade. Decent damage, gets the knock with the nade explosion, and now it's only Godfather behind that little extra rock, right? Oh, and the Blues don't get some work done onto BRX2, it seems, but Eagle have yet to lose a player, which I'm impressed seeing how big a split it actually is, but they've got great team play here. Regrouped actually on that position, left one player over to the east. Rush couldn't do anything. It was just an easy, straightforward fight.
Yeah, I mean, they were very swiftly dealt with, so, you know, Eagles, I'm happy to see that they were able to condense their positioning, right? Really close that one up. But there they go back with the splits yet again, right? Maximo now going to be pushing back up to the north. We still have Marso holding over towards this eastern side. But again, Kazama having to defend as God's ultimate come knocking on their door.
It is so tough to defend this position because it's just so downhill. You can't really defend all the angles too efficiently. Kazama makes it in the building, is going to be the first casualty. He's going to get flushed up, just a bit of extra bleeding, and he is going to be the first casualty of this fight. God's ultimate. As you said, DK, you were completely correct. They could squeeze down south, but the thing is, this compound, sure, is not the easiest to defend, but we are talking about doing a pretty much a breach by foot, with Eagles third partying the entire time. That is going to be just so much adding on the tally against God's ultimate's position. While Vengeance, look, there's such a sneaky rotation you can see on the map up north. Maximo solo to defend it. Vengeance could come back here to steal this game away from Eagle.
Yeah, there is a very big possibility for that to be the situation. Now it's going to be Asumania getting dropped on down as Yuxi comes in with a bit of a whoopsie, and they do find the play. Now, Eagles, they're going to be holding nice and steady with their 4-piece up towards the north. We are still sitting with 4 teams. Dennis also going to be riding this train all the way to the end.
I swear, every time Big Baby have a solo player, it's always Dennis. For some reason, I'm not sure what the trend is. But, Yuxi, that could be a good nade. Confirm that one. Bap, bap, bap. There you go, with a QBU, with a 4X. He's got himself with a UMP. The QBU would be pretty good here, just get himself some sneaky, cheeky one-taps. But Vengeance, really good regroup again from Eagle. I thought they were going to hold that split for too long, but they regrouped apparently at the perfect time to just take the fight against Rush, take the fight versus Vengeance. But that's a great opening nade as Andres and Aka are looking to overwhelm Maximo in a 1v2.
Well, let's see whether or not Maximo... No, well, they won't. Down they go. Good reaction coming through here from Vengeance. And this is them now trying to bounce back. That sneaky play that you were referencing, this is exactly what we see now coming to fruition. Wait. And it's gonna be up to Striker, though, to defend.
Actually, Eagle are sending all of their resources onto Vengeance. Look at God's ultimate. They're healing up. They're regrouping. They are pushing south. If they make it to the buildings, DK, there's a chance they could take the fight to Eagles and actually get themselves the win. They don't have the numbers to defend anymore. It's going to be a 2v2v2 unless Eagle are able to get the res, which onto Yuxi, I just don't know if that's going to be able to work out. I don't think Vengeance want to allow it to happen, but Andres is the first to fall, gets flushed, and only Aka88 remains to defend this possible podium position for his team. While Dennis, just like the previous game, DK, in these positions, a solo could just wait things out and snatch the game away last second.
Yeah, that seems to be a very big possibility right here.
Oof.
Now, it's going to be that push, right? Striker and the rest of Eagles still going to be looking to bounce back.
Oh, the pre-fight!
Oh, beautiful defense! But down they go, though.
What a nice pre-fire from Aka, but unfortunately, it was just not meant to be the 1v2. But God's ultimate, they hear this in the distance, DK. They got nades in hand, and he saw Yuxi just a few seconds ago. Is that going to be good? It does get a little bit of damage, puts him down to half health, actually below half health. And second nade too, he has a good idea of where he is positioned, but because he took so much time to try and get Yuxi, the res did come on through. Dennis is spotted away, Big Baby out in top 3, and now it's Eagle versus God's ultimate. A 3v2. Can God's ultimate bring it back, or are Eagles going to remain the kings of the mountain?
Well, Blue definitely going to be looking to do quite a bit of damage right here, but Yuxi now coming through with a strafing. The push, the application is there. The UMP now just looking to reign supreme. Leon, no, about to go, no, right on down, and that is it. Eagles, they are going to be soaring to victory in this match.
Oh yeah, no, that's not Eagle, Sam. Whatever. It's still a really good game. What a game from Eagle, and I was a little bit doubtful. I'm not gonna lie, DK. I thought that they were holding that split, that wide 4-man split, for way too long. But the moment they started to have teams looking for the fights, especially Rush, they instantly regroup, overwhelm Rush, then regroup, take the fight south, then regroup, take the fight north. The execution of that position, maybe not flawless, maybe not perfect, but very close to perfection. And with that, the game itself, 16 elimination game, plus the 10 placement points of that chicken dinner. Currently, the biggest chicken dinner game that we've had so far. I would say this entire tournament. I don't recall having a more than 16 elimination match.
I mean, this was definitely a fat goose, right? That is what they got. It's so far looking pretty hot and tasty.
Goose
yeah,
esports.
the biggest other chicken we got came through from Team Kazama, where they got 13 eliminations, but that was over on Erangel. So yeah, this is definitely setting the precedence here as to what we could expect to see come through from a team like Team Eagles.
It's a little bit easier when you have 16 teams. There's more opportunities to get those eliminations. But what a match from these guys. And again, playing the Northwest Island hilltop, mountaintop to almost perfection. The way they regrouped and their synergy was really fantastic, making sure that Rush, Vengeance, and God's Ultimate were not going to be a possible threat later on down the line. But I'm really hyped to look at some of our replays, DK, because there's so much to break down from the early game to the mid stage, and especially to how Eagles played that late game stage. But first off, we got to look at Nexus that, again, with those splits, got punished a little bit too severely over to the east.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still being Nexus. I think they played this one, you know, in perfect Nexus style. Unfortunately, they did lose Doran quite early on. But, you know, the play is there. You can't really fault it. But moving into these later few stages, I gotta say, this is where Eagles Esports really found themselves sitting on a nest egg.
Yeah, it really is. And actually, I'm looking at LP2. Sure, did not make it out of this terrain, but I would say one really good desperate play. They tried to play the terrain to their advantage. Unfortunately, that wide wrap southwest was not going to go in their favor any longer. But there you go. This is when I was really hyped about Eagles. Like, okay, they start to regroup. They see that teams are pushing. They have to overwhelm teams as a three-man. And they left also Marso over to the east side pretty much the entire time, DK, which kept tabs on a lot of the other teams and made sure that if they tried to get closer with Yuxi too, that they couldn't quite encroach on their terrain in the first place. So, like, the amount of communication that is required to pull off a play like that and such a split while also taking fights shows to me that internally things are going as smooth as can be for this roster. And we're smoothly going to transition into a break as we get ready for our last match of the day, back over onto Erangel.
It's time to upgrade your PUBG mobile outfits. Join free daily cups for solo, duo or squads. Win Faceit points. Exchange for PUBG Mobile UC. To customize your accounts, join Faceit today and earn rewards. Try for free at faceit.com/PUBG Mobile.
Bring the band in. Woo. Well, all right. Yeah, they want me to fit in, but I can't. I'm too different with it. Too advanced to think. You know my intuition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best. You get it? What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh. I'm vetted up. I don't need to try speak for the rest. Always keep it abrupt. They wanna keep it a mess. You fit in your box. Why you try to box me in? I got the key to unlock. I know the locksmith, optics, speak of the loss. I'm eating lobster, chopsticks, freaking the boss. You know, I'll never fit in where I go at. Boss talk like I'm Boaz. Why fit in when you know you can stand out still? They remember you more when you hand out deals. Let's go. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your box. No. Don't box me in. I do my own thing. Spirit is right within. I got my own way. Father is not within. Look at the way that I do my ops again. Oh, better let me loose. You know that I got the juice. Everything I got to do. Words that I speak out my mouth, I gotta move. Oh, we can't fit in your box. We too cold to get low. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your box. No. Thank you, Ben, for coming out tonight. My name is Son of Augustine. Let's go.
The Eagles esports soar high and get himself their chicken dinner here on the previous Sanhok match. But we got one more game to play still, DK. It's going to be a banger. It's going to be a zinger. It's going to be over to the grassy pastures to wrap up day one of our grand finals here of PMCO Europe 2023. And DK, I got to say, we had some great times in the last chance. It was cool. We had some great plays here and there. But I got to say, just from this first day alone, you can see that the level of gameplay has significantly increased by how teams are executing their game plan.
I mean, there's nothing to argue with that statement. The teams, they just bring it all out onto the battlefield, taking the whole level of gameplay to the next stage. And I think it's rightly so because, you know, they are going to be fighting for a little bit of bragging rights, at least, you know, saying that, you know, this is just the level of performance that we can bring in, even at PMCO level. And, well, so far, I think they're doing an absolutely stand-up job.
I'm always really excited for these tournaments because it just shows also the next generation of semi-pro or maybe, who knows, pro players. It's super interesting. Like, there's already some standout players that I'm looking at. Like, I would see them play in a PMPL without, you know, too much of a stretch in my imagination. I would be happy to see some of these squads. Like God's Ultimate, I think that they have an interesting playstyle. And I would like to see that in a PMPL. Maybe. You know, who knows? We'll have to see how things are going to wrap up. But only the future will tell. Though, here we go, ready for match number 4 to wrap up the first day of action here. It's back to good old fancy Erangel, trial and tested map. And it's an eastern plane path. We had west, and now it's east. I'm just waiting to see if we're going to have some hot drops caused by it, or if we're just going to have a nice and steady first game. Well, first game, last game.
Yeah. I mean, it's the first one after Sanhok, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one after Sanhok. It's the first game after game 3.
Yes. If you do the math, you know, you'll come to whatever your calculator tells you. I mean, if you need one to do the math, but either which way, a different kind of math being done though is over on towards the edge of the screen. As we can see, Eagles holding on to a beautiful 3-point lead ahead of Nexus Gaming. And I mean, you said it before, all the way back over in Miramar. Nexus, at the start of Sanhok, they are a very aggressive team. As you can see them essentially capitalizing on eliminations. And I'm curious to see just how they are going to be approaching this game here, as well as we've got essentially the exact same zone as before.
Pretty much. I do wonder if we're going to have a different circle shift, but if you are a team that has played that first game, which that would be every team, you want to rethink, okay, the team who won, Mumia, what position did they play? Maybe we could go there early. Maybe we could go for Cube 2 that was very, very strong for the squad that played it last match. So When I say last match, I mean game 1. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some learnings that can be taken from these teams that maybe had a rougher time. We'll have to see. But first off, you want to get your loop location. You want to get all that stuff done and dusted, and you want to get on the move, on the prowl. As Rush, don't do it. Don't rush. You have 1 nade right now from YC, okay? Wait, he's got also, I think that's a VSS and a Scar? It might be an AC Val. I'm trying to guess. I love trying to guess. Like, I'm not sure. What's your bet?
It does look like it looks like a VSS AC Val. I think that could be what they're rocking right there, because I mean I get where you could think it looks like a Scar L looking at the
He's got 2 weapons, right?
Yeah. Looking at the butt of the weapon, it does look very similar to a Scar, but I definitely think that is going to be the AC Val.
Did you just assume it's an AC Val? How dare you? It's 2023, man. You can't assume what weapons are anymore. Just can't. No. It's I think it's interesting to rush down a team with an AC Val or like a VSS more specifically. It's like, all right, go get him, lads. It's rushing down with a VSS. Would be an interesting.
I mean, you'll never hear him firing that weapon unless he's much closer to you. I mean, so that's why. Okay, it turns out it is a Scar L. All right.
No, it was. And a VSS. Scar
Nice.
VSS. We were correct. The thing is, reason why I was... Yeah, I was correct. I'm always correct. What can I say? You know, I'm just a cool guy like that.
Taking it to the max.
But yeah, so they didn't follow it down because the VSS 10 bullet ammo capacity, I don't think would really allow you to get kind of like a favorable fight in the early stage. So they do let that one slip out of their grasp. Outside of that, though, a lot of teams over to the east or southeast part of the map. So we'll have to see how the rotations go. But they got 4 minutes and 30 seconds, so they have all the time in the world to get to their drop spot, get the loot they need, and get on the move in this Phase 1 circle.
Yeah. Speaking of drop spots, though, this is a very interesting wide rotation coming through from both the 4 Romanian boys and, of course, in the players that we saw there coming through from BRX. But BRX, so far, I think the pacing is pretty decent. A good setup here within the compound. I think holding on to compound like that, especially with a team like 4 Romanian boys not too far away from them, should the 4 Romanian boys potentially decide to maybe contest them, they have an opportunity to see that coming if they are, well, doing what they are supposed to be doing, right? And that's, of course, keeping their eyes on the horizon.
Man, I'm a little bit sad because I've seen so many, like, I think I've seen 1 or 2 players play with a Car 98 right now. I have just bought myself, for the very first time, like, a really cool skin that I really liked. It's the new Guilt skin. It's got, like, a purple skin, and it's on the Car 98, and I got it. I maxed it to the max level, which, you know, on those kind of weapons can take a while to get there, but I maxed it to the max. And I played like 10, 15 matches after getting that skin that I was so proud to use. And I swear, I could not find a single Car 98. Not a single one. On like 10 to 15 matches. I was like so proud to have that skin finally. I couldn't get it. And Matana is just not going to get it either. He's not going to get anything done as he's just going to be the first casualty for Rush. And it sucks because he's been such a dominant present player in the last chance. But they just won't let him play. And now they're going to go on to Godfather and look for the double. Whoa!
Oh!
Okay,
Wow.
he got him mid-air. He didn't even touch the ground.
No. I mean, that's Granddaddy for you on that one, right? Godfather. Ooh, that was a good spray down coming through here from Ahmed. I wanted to do like an accent, you know, that the Godfather would say, but I mean, there's no need.
What did you do to my boy? Is that good? No, I can't do accents. I don't know. I could do a good Gollum voice and Mickey Mouse voice and Donald Duck. That's it. I can't do more than that. So you get what you get.
I would avoid that for now on my end because you know, a little bit of phlegm doesn't work all too well with Donald Duck.
No.
Yeah, that's not going to work all too well. But in the meanwhile, well, we do see Godfather managing to get themselves patched up by RyKG. I just love how active Rush is, right? RyKG seems like they are maybe a little bit restless, right? They hear cues and then they're like, I gotta find it.
Wait, are you calling him RyKG for real or are you memeing? I'm not sure. It's Ray Kage. It's a Naruto reference. I mean, I'm like 90% sure it's a Naruto reference. You got to read. You gotta read the Bible of anime. You know, it's Naruto. So, it's the base.
Yeah, I'm definitely not memeing. I'll just say that's how we pronounce it in South Africa. But sure, I mean, if it's Raikage, then we go for Raikage then.
I think it might be completely wrong. He's like, what the hell is Naruto? And it's just not intended. But I hope it's a reference, please. I'd really appreciate it. Gohan, and that's a Dragon Ball reference. Look at that. So many anime references. My little wee brain is overwhelmed. I'm loving it. Let's go on. It's just going to fuel up the car. I don't remember that Dragon Ball episode, but maybe it's just filler content. I'm not sure.
We'll take it. We'll take it. I mean, Epsilon Axe, they're definitely going to be looking to kick up a bit of a storm here, as we've seen. I think Tornado, if you give Tornado utilities, nades, I mean, there's not an angle that we've not seen Tornado just going absolutely boom. But Recent, though, is going to find themselves in the presence of potentially Team LP.
And I'm really happy you bring up Tornado, because from what we saw from this player in the past, and now already a little bit of a start in this tournament, he is also, as an individual player, I would like to see reached a higher sphere of PUBG Mobile Esport. I think that he would fit really nicely in like a new test of a PMPL team, let's say. I think that he would fit really comfortably in those kind of spots. I think we have a lot of individuals that would fit really well in PMPL. Maybe a little bit more experience would be needed. Are you joking with these circles? What? What? Are we having a one-to-one repeat of match 1?
Yeah, this is just one of the instances. In case you missed match number 1, this is what the zone did. Just whatever we're seeing right now, this is what the zone did in the first match of the day. And so far, we can't really say that the teams are repeating the plays they had previously, but I like the change up that we've got coming through here. Teams, you can see, definitely looking to apply themselves more effectively moving into the second, iteration of Erangel.
I love how you have so many teams like, the Mummy compound, let's get it. Send it there. It's a game-winning spot, which in the circle, again, it is. Mummy is just going to be disappointed they couldn't be the first team to make it there. But Epsilon Axe also going for a very similar rotation to what they did on that previous game of Erangel. And same with Eagles, actually, that also tried to go there. But unfortunately, Epsilon Axe were there first as a full squad. So Striker has to give away that position. But seems like right now, the dash is still happening south of the map. A lot of teams still getting, but I would say there's a lot more water involved this time around on this phase 2. So teams are going to get squashed on top of one another a little bit more. Though I do wonder, are we going to see a similar Eastern swipe from Nexus? Are they just going to obliterate like 5 teams in a row? I don't know. We'll see.
Oof. I mean, they are definitely approaching zones, so we'll find out very, very soon how they're going to be handling the situation here. But, I mean, Epsilon Axe, we saw this exact position getting played in the first match. This time around, it is not going to go as we've seen before. Instead, it is going to be Eagles looking to look for a position a little bit further over on towards this eastern front. And I think this is a good setup coming through here from them. Of course, Godfather is going to be going at it yet again, as we can see the plays now starting to mount up, and Team Alpi going up against Rush.
There's so many fights on the coast here. Rush going to be encountering versus Team Alpi. Great opening nade, and Raikage, that AC Val is not going to be of any use while you're being knocked. But Godfather's going... Man, you're going to get in so much trouble. I don't know why you're going for that res. He's going to get... Oh, wait, he doesn't have nades anymore for Moxito. Do the other players off Team Alpi? I mean, they're too far away. They can't nade it. Ooh, if he actually gets to res and gets in the car and gets out of there, I would be so impressed, because I really did not expect them to survive. Bokax is actually giving some decent support from that that building. The lack of nades really just helps them so much, because I tell you, one nade, they're done. Rush lose 2 players then and there.
Yeah, that would be a very unfortunate play for Rush, as we've been waiting for them to just claw their way further up the standings. But in the meanwhile, you can't really fault all too much here from the side of Team Alpi. I mean, that is a good approach. And, of course, the zone is going to be centering up on them yet again. Now, again, comes the opportunity for BRX, though. Ooh, to get a little bit of that vengeance over onto God's Ultimate.
Yeah, trying to, again, just clear space here against God's Ultimate. Really good from BRX. very similar playstyle to what we saw on game 1 to DK, where they eliminated Rush. They had so much space that they were able to clear over to the west. Here's just a little bit more south than where they were playing last game. But in terms of the eliminations, they were able to just acquire that game. It was very impressive. Though Caster spots him out, but wait, he's playing with a mini 14 loadout with a deep. That's an interesting loadout. It's like there's no in between. It's like long range or short range. If you're mid range, we're doomed.
Oh, they're gonna have to try and run and gun it. Meanwhile, Dennis is gonna go down. Overlaid also about to fall on through. Yeah, there we go. The confirmation is in. Doran getting the confirmation played. Now it's up to Baban. Oh, but the upset being played there by, of course, none other than the exotic Seam all the way from that far reach. But now Nexus, good setup coming in onto the edge of zone, but they're going to have to clear quite a bit of a pathway to get themselves situated here.
Good little temporary location too. They're just a little bit of a hilltop, put some pressure, take some shots, get back into the cars, and keep on moving. As Bunny also had a really good game the previous iteration of this map, so they're going to play a very similar location, good high ground spot, a lot of information onto Vengeance, Nexus. They're not quite sure what's going to happen with 4 Romanian boys versus Skip Zone. And it seems like Jeto from Skip Zone is going to be the first to fall. Waketu does have the Kar 98. I'm jealous. I can't find that weapon. I don't know why. Just give it to me.
Maybe it's just one of those weapons, right? Maybe it's Murphy's Law. The moment you're looking for it, you can't find it. When you stop looking for it, that is when you'll start to find it. Speaking about a play like that, though, I'm curious to see how the 4 Romanian boys are going to be looking to play over on towards the southern edge of Zoran, because currently we do see Squip Zoran holding on to a split on either ends. The Nexus now going to be looking to assert themselves onto Eagle Esports.
Okay, it's Redox. He has to save the day, but he can't do it. Eagle Esports clear the east and get themselves some eliminations on one of the top fragging squads of day 1 here. Really good fight that they were able to take. And because of that, look how much space they have east of Exotic Alliance. They can make so many good plays off the back of that. And they still have cars too, which is important. Actually, we just saw the Eagles just put a player in one of the buggies and move into the circle to go for the res. Really smart play. Don't delay that rotation too much more thanks to that actual execution. Vengeance, little dip 2. Spot Bunny on the prowl. They might be able to find himself a little dip 2. The thing is that low ground against 4 Romanian boys, I think 4 Romanian boys are just going to exude pressure from the high ground spot if they're able to push Bunny away from it. Because currently, Merciless and Twist not in the safest of positions if Bunny lose those 2 other players.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough one to play through. Getu and King also keeping it very, very quiet now for the side there of Script. As you can see them just patiently waiting for the zone to bring some kind of a maneuver. But 4 Romanian boys, I like that activity, starting to push it up. Getzo actually taking themselves on down, and now it's going to be Akar looking to capitalize on the carnage as Get Wrecked comes rushing forward with a vehicle.
I can't believe how similar this circle is. It's the exact same. It's not even similar. It is the exact same circle than what we had on the last Erangel. So, I mean, right now Bunny are just, okay, if we can clear Vengeance, we can pretty much play the exact same location that we had in the last game. It's just 4 Romanian boys. I don't think I'm going to give that one up for free. It's Merciless with his nades. A lot of dips here that makes it so prone to nade damage. And actually getting third party also by Rush across that road. So they're just going to have a real tough time to survive it. Sanhok is going to be the first one to get flushed out in this fight. He's done, and there's 2 other players there trying to go for the first aid, but he's not going to get it. That's another one for Merciless with a DBS rush. That should be the nail in the coffin. I spoke too soon for Marin here. Gets one. Can he get the 2-piece? But no, he can't. Twist is there to lock it down. And unfortunately, they do lose 1 player, but 3 players in a circle like this still have a chance to go so far here, DK.
Yeah, it is still going to take quite a bit of hard work for them to accomplish their potential outcome here. But in the meanwhile, T-Pass, a team that's also been rather quiet over the previous few matches. We've not seen all that much from them, especially looking back at the previous 2 over on Miramar and Sanhok. We've seen them also making their way back with a bit of that bubble play coming in. But now, already 1 elimination up, so we have that improvement. But will T-Bears now be able to utilize the available space that they've got? There's quite a few hills and valleys to play through, but Get Wrecked, though, is going to be pushing up quite aggressively now onto Bunny Esports.
Yeah, for Romanian boys, again, super nadeable positions here on the outskirts of shooting range. Gets in the car, does take a severe beating, and actually, that beating is going to continue until he is dead. So, that's going to be the end for Bunny. And good, because now for Romanian boys can have full control of the south. That high ground position is so, so good. No one can really take it away from for Romanian boys. And sure, the circle might not be coming their way, but they can reduce the amount of threats that are going to be standing in their way for as long as possible this next circle shift on phase 5. I'm loving it. It's, again, I'm so surprised. We've got 2 Erangels, and those 2 Erangels are the exact same. But Epsilon Axe have an opportunity to redeem themselves and play this one way better than what they did on the last one. Oh, the invisible car. Oh, hello.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a new mod, new extra skin that we've seen come through. Regage now going to be holding nice and steady over on the edge.
It's the same!
It's going to be centering up, and this is where I'm curious to see how Mumia are going to be looking to play through this one. Changes, though, is going to be they've got only 1 player up.
I mean, don't forget, the team that was there last time, For Many Boys, got a 2nd place from that position. So, I mean, can you really argue against that? Not really. Uh-oh, great nade connects round to Rekage. BRX again. They clash versus Rush, and Rush just... It's like BRX are the kryptonite of this team. They really are the kryptonite of Rush. They just win these fights so one-sidedly. And now they just don't want to take that fight anymore, though luckily enough Godfather does have the MG3. But Team Alpi are just making sure they remain as the kings of the coast. If they eliminate Rush, they could transition onto Epsilon, so this fight is very important for Alpi.
Ooh, come on. Bank now playing in from the edge. They have a beautiful lineup here. You can see Bego, Sandrick, as well as Moxito, all sitting there in single file, focusing their efforts across the way. Sarah is also going to be bringing in a little bit of contributions. We can see now popping into the feed, but Boca is going to be hitting 600 damage already. I love this though. I mean, quite a good start coming through from Rush, but now comes the difficulty. How on earth are they going to get out of that blue?
They don't. I think that's what we're looking at here. They're just trying to survive a little bit more. Who knows, maybe get a few placement points, but Poker... Oh, even gets taken down. Wait, was that the... No, it was the blue zone. Okay, unlucky. I thought Alpi got himself that elimination, but it was not meant to be. Rush are taken out of the lobby. And in terms of eliminations, a little bit better spread compared to the first Erangel. We've got 5 for Romanian boys. BRX up to 4. 5 also for Eagle. Otherwise, the other squad's up to 0 or 1 elimination a pop. As Epsilon, I said it here, this could be their strong redemption game, but Alpi, again, just such a smooth, aggressive transition, looking to control the northern side of the road.
Yeah, instead it seems like Epsilon is going to get axed, as we do have Sandrick and the rest of Alpi now pushing up very, very aggressively. Gohan! Needs to go and, well... trying to reassess the situation here because Alpi, they are just pitching up so aggressively. But this could be Fank now trying to close up the last play over on towards Tornado.
Yeah, Gohan just couldn't quite go Super Saiyan for his team, and he's going to be encountering a very rough ending. That could be a really good nade. The cooking looks good. Gets so much damage. 1 more bullet's all he needs here on the UMP push. But he's just playing around the rock to perfection, forcing him out into the open so his teammates could assist him. Really good play from Fank. And now there's only Leon from God's Ultimate that could contest the northern side of the road. But I do have to reiterate how similar this circle actually is to the first Erangel of the day. And it might just end up playing the exact same way. So I'm looking at 3 positions. BRX, Exotic Alliance, and Mumia that could be looking in a good spot before Romanian boys are just putting so much pressure on the south. They can obliterate a lot of these squads from that position.
Well, we're about to find out if it's going to be a rinse repeat. Ooh, at least not. Well, the zone changing it up. Now favoring the side there of Exotic Alliance. And I think this is exactly the kind of positioning that Eagles were looking for back in phase number 1. Game number 1, rather.
The thing is, I'm thinking, if you are Eagle, do you want to take this fight right now? Or what I would personally recommend, don't take the fight. Just let it be. Wait for the next circle pop. Just defend your angle. And if a team like Alpi, normally they're going to be breaching that compound later on or go for wide wrap west. That's the 2 only options for Team Alpi. So depending on that, Eagles might be able to capitalize on a sneaky third party. But also, 4 Romanian boys are going to see that in the distance. And they're already also on the move. They're going to go for the car rotation, DK. They are going to go for the wide wrap east. And they are going to be encountering Striker and the entirety of Eagle Esports.
Oh, I think this is still a very good read coming through from the 4 Romanian boys, spotting an opportunity. But now, Striker, is that nade going to reach? Not quite convinced.
What, it
does. Ooh, wow!
The bounce! Whew, I really did not think that nade was going to work out, but it seemed like it bounced just on the side of the rock. I'm impressed. I really thought that was too short of a throw. BRX going to be encountering T-Pes. You mentioned it earlier, DK. A nice position in the circle. And if they can fully defend it, a nice transition point to go with on the west. But with BRX currently approaching with some utility still remaining, I believe. Yeah, 1 nade from Jade. That could allow them to turn the tide back in their favor.
Well, let's see whether or not T-Pes can turn this one around. We've seen some really good pacing coming through from them previously. Team Alfie, though, not going to be given the opportunity to get that winner chicken dinner. But now, BRX, they've got an angle over on towards Maniac. Maniac now is just going to try stay hidden as best they possibly can. But I think things could maybe get quite difficult here for Maniac, especially looking at the sheer number of players they have in the vicinity.
Some more AC Valves also in play, it seems. Still at this stage. Well, Ozzy gets an amazing opening nade right on the side of that shed. And he's trying to go for the first for the res 2. Right into the building. They're off to the side, though. He doesn't have any more utility. He has to rush. He's then got a tier 1 helmet and vest. Oh, he's going to take so much damage up against that DBS of Lazex. And he still gets the knock with the UMP. Are you joking? Ozzy, how are you getting away with this fight? I have no idea. His teammate is just not going to be able to assist him too much. And he clears out the entirety of T-Pes on his lonesome. Ozzy, what is this guy on about? As he clears the entirety of the western side, clears all of T-Pes, and now can be aiming, hopefully, for a top 5 position.
I mean, that was a beautiful play coming through from the side of BRX. But now, I don't know if you've spotted it, but Yuxi has got a little bit of some over there.
Ooh.
Sitting with a beautiful MG3. And this could be absolutely devastating now for the Exotic Alliance. But a very aggressive defense coming through from them.
Yeah, the DBS, not the sound you want to hear when you're defending a compound for Exotic Alliance. Gonna have to try and play around it. That could be a good nade onto Striker. And tries to jump that man. Mori is just jumping all over the place. But unfortunately, by jumping out the building, makes himself vulnerable to Leon. That will go for the swift confirm of that elimination. And I said it, Yuxi with the MG3. It's gonna be pretty important. He does get some nice damage, though. Actually, he could get himself a 1v3 here with that kind of utility. But the nade is too good for Striker, and they have a successful breach onto Exotic Alliance. And now, the fact that they've only lost 1 play on that transition is so impressive. And they can fully play that position. The circle shifts again, phase 7, right on top of them, DK. This is their game to lose.
Well, I mean, Eagles, they've already asserted themselves here today, so there is going to be a high expectation for a bit of that follow-through play to come on in. I mean, this could potentially be a back-to-back winner chicken dinner.
It really could be. That is how good of a game we have been witnessing. I hate those low angles. They're so annoying. From inside, it's super easy to hit, but from outside, threading the needle is so tough. But he just wants to deny this rotation from BRX. And they still have a car in functioning order, which is so weird. I did not expect that to be the case. But you got to be careful. You got to keep those wheels nice and hidden. If you lose this car, there is no way in hell, DK, they can make it to the buildings.
Yeah, I mean, your option then is going to be to retire the vehicle. But speaking about opportunities, I mean, Eagles, they've got the spread, they've got the angles, the positions. But now I think it's going to come down to, will they have the defense? Because we've got Leon pushing through from the western side. You can see Striker. They've already spotted out a few of those pixels. And now it's just going to come down to timing as Leon starts to try and make the dash. But the response is there. Yuxi ends the run. 4 Romanian boys still have a bit of an opportunity to maybe bounce back.
As you said, DK, we are looking possibly at a back-to-back win. BRX, the only real issue is get wrecked. He is just such a pain slowing down the entire approach, and now the car is starting to take damage. But yeah, they're just going to peek over that ridge. There is no way they can make that transition work out. The car has been retired, and Igor just looking to get himself maybe a 13 elimination chicken dinner. Unless you're BRX, you know you're not making that win. I would say just die out to the blue. That might just be the best option for these guys to deny points away from Eagle Esports.
Yeah, I have to agree. That could definitely be the best play here for Ozzy to keep the eliminations out of reach here for Eagles. But I mean, there's not much that you can falter for Eagles. They played a 16 elimination match in the previous game. Now already sitting pretty high up. 11, again, being able to replicate those double digits. But now the pressure is going to be on Get Wrecked and Ozzy to see if they can maybe play the upset against Eagle Esports.
It's just a game for second place between 4 Romanian boys and BRX. Who's going to survive and outlive the other one? The thing is, by having Striker go out, they want those eliminations. They do not want to let them go out to the blue zone. It seems like Ozzy actually wants to try and play it out, but he's spotted with a red dot. Striker with the Uxie. They get the job done. 4 Romanian boys will be the ones to get a back-to-back second place, technically, on this Erangel battleground. But Get Wrecked, he's just trying his best. There's no way, I would say, just die to the blue zone if you can. That might just be the best way to do it. And he is indeed going to take that blue zone damage. But they might just get the elimination here to get the spray. And he does go out to the blue zone. This is it, the back-to-back chicken dinner from Eagle Esports on Sanhok and Erangel. And they knew that position was going to be strong from the previous Erangel, so they just went for it and played it so well after that breach.
I mean, if the zones phase out like these ones just did, you know, the teams, they know exactly how to try and play their way through. You got to commend the efforts though being brought through there by Eagles. Absolutely amazing showing. And also then looking over on the side there of the 4 Romanian boys. I mean, a consistent second place when it comes to Erangel. There's not much that you can fault on that.
I'm really happy with 4 Romanian boys because they cleared out the angles of Bunny really early on, which they knew that was going to be a major threat to their position, and then they just got all the information in the world that they needed to make those transitions. But the circle, when it's on top of a compound of a team that still have 3 players alive at the time, it's just not quite going to happen. Though, that puts an end to the bloodbath of Nexus, DK. They are just getting themselves 2 eliminations on the match. Not quite the match they were hoping for, but they still got so much done in the first 3 that you can't really fault them. Just a little break game every once in a while, that is okay for them to have.
But I think what we also saw happening here is that the rest of the lobby got a really good look at how Nexus could be approaching these games. And this is, I think, where we saw those responses then coming through. Because especially this Erangel, I mean, Nexus, they were not having the same kind of luck that they had back in game number 1.
They were punished by Eagle Esports then. They were a little bit split, which I think teams are slowly catching up to. They understand that, okay, Nexus not going to always be as a close pack. They are going to be in a position where they could technically be punished. And it's good to see teams being able to do that as efficiently as Eagle were able to do this game. So glad to see that happening. As Team Alpi, again, sure, not a massive game, but able to sweep the northern side the way they did. Another impressive match for them where they are staying irrelevant sheerly by the amount of eliminations they're able to bring on board for themselves.
I mean, the consistency is there. As we know, Team LB, I think moving into the potential games coming through tomorrow, I think we are going to be seeing a great increase coming through from the side of Team LB, because just looking back at how they played through the last chance, they had a similar kind of play happening on the first day, right? Day 2, day 3, they really just upped that ante.
Yeah, it's the way you want to go about it, right? It's just want to keep that momentum going and just keep building even more momentum. Hopefully, violence, speed, and momentum is going to be apparently the words that they're living by entering in these grand finals. And if they can continue that for the next 2 days too, I would be absolutely stoked to see it. It's cool to see some new teams rise up to the occasion. But we're going to be getting ready to check out the overall rankings after our first day, and to see who currently is in the lead. And currently it is Eagle Esports, which not a big surprise here, DK, but the fact that they've got a lead as significant as 61 points to 38 up against Nexus, that is a statement and a half.
Yeah, I mean, this is a crazy, crazy play. And this, I think, is going to be setting the bar quite high for Eagle Esports, especially looking at just the basing that they've been able to bring through in the first day. 61 points, that is tremendous. But now the big play for them here is going to be whether or not they can now just do a little bit of maintenance moving into the remaining 2 days, because the moment you give a team like Nexus the opportunity to try and play catch up, or even the 4 Romanian boys, that could be your ticket punch right there.
It really could be. We also saw that only 5 placement points for Nexus, so again, they don't know what placement points are. They only know the fragging way of things, and they got himself a ton of eliminations. But on the lower side, a bit of a rougher start for like Rush Team, for example, not quite the first day they were hoping for. But despite it being a short tournament, DK, there's still a lot of opportunities for these guys to make some changes. So, you know what? If day one didn't quite go your way, that is fine. You can still make up for it tomorrow. But also, what you can do right now, right here, you can go check out our social media platforms to stay up to date with everything PUBG Mobile Esports related in the European region. If it's PMPL, if it's the Championship, or even if it's PMCO, we'll keep you up to date with everything unfolding over there. So please do go check it out. But DK, thank you so much for our first day here of the Grand Final. It's been great covering this tournament with you for that first day. We still have 2 more matches, 2 more days of action here for the Grand Finals unfolding tomorrow and also on Sunday. So we'll see you guys right there, same time, same place. See you tomorrow.